Hope you don't mind me chewing ice. I hope your Monday morning mango is going really, really good. Sorry if it's frozen. Let me just verify some things right now. With any luck, this is actually working. I like when things actually work. It's always a technological excitement for me. Hope you don't mind me chewing ice. And it looks like we're pretty good there on YouTube. And I'm assuming that Facebook and all of the other places are also very, very bitchin'. So good to see you guys. And hello, Aztec. Hello, Cody. Joe, thanks for coming by, and got a lot of Thailand. Dave, I know that you were showing up quite early this morning, so thank you very much. I did not get a GoPro Hero 9 yet. I pinged my buddy at GoPro, and he was unable to order one for me, believe it or not. Pardon me, but with any luck, I will get one at the end of the day. The worst case scenario is that I just simply go down to like Fortune Town or something and potentially pay 16,000 baht just for the camera. So that could be a little bit disappointing. But hello, Steve. Good to see you, my friend. Glad you guys are here. I also have, so I'm using my new laptop now. And I'm trying a couple of new things. I've been messing around with it. As you know, I like to sort of mess around with technology that way. I've got a little bit of compression in the audio. And so hopefully this will sound fairly decent here. I've also got a couple of other cameras going on here. I've got Pigeon Cam for us, and I've also got a little bit of a shot up there from an old SJ Cam, the SJ Cam 5000, actually. And I'm using that as a webcam. I used to use that as Pigeon Cam, but anyway, yeah. So it's a good question. I kind of am, which is a real bummer. And so actually what I don't need to do is have both of these up there now, do I? Sorry. I actually kind of prefer this one more. Yeah, I've had a cold for a couple of days. And so we did the Saturday, and thank you for asking. Well, I assume you're asking because you care. But regardless, thank you for asking. So Saturday after the live stream with Dana on Bangkok Strange, I was downstairs actually at his house after we were done in the studio, and I'm like, oh God, I just don't feel it, whatever, right? So I got home and I was feeling pretty hot, but of course I just walked in Bangkok, right? And so greetings, hey Ramona, what's going on, man? Right up the street from San Diego. That's really cool. I used to love going there. So I got home and was feeling a little meh. And so, took some aspirin and, some vitamin C and that sort of thing. And just very basic over-the-counter stuff. I took my temperature. My temperature was 99.6, which for me is not just necessarily 1 degree higher, but normally my temperature is about 98.12, that sort of thing. And but little Tylenol, that went down very quickly. And so I was like, okay, I don't have COVID or anything like this, right? Good morning, Thomas. Good to see you. Thanks for coming by on Facebook. Glad that the technology is actually allowing us to communicate over there as well. That's always a good thing. So I was just sort of resting, and then yesterday, Sunday, I was considering doing the live stream with Jeremy, but just was not feeling it, and even that I said, okay, well, I'll take a couple hours and I'll hang out on the chat or whatever, and I'll interface with some guys, but for the most part, I'll just take it easy. But then I'm going to go out, I'm going to get some fresh air, if you will, and then, go for a walk, that sort of thing. No, that, and by about 10:30 yesterday morning, I was like, oh my God, I'm dying again. Sorry, I'm not dying. I just wasn't feeling 100%, nor was I feeling about 80%. So I said, okay, well, this is the way this is planned, right? When you get sick, is that you're supposed to, rest, liquids. I mean, the standard, super, super easy. And Dave says he had a runny nose for about 8 days. I haven't had the runny nose. That's a drag, too. That's annoying, right, Dave? Sorry to hear that, buddy. Again, it's just more of an annoyance for me than anything else. I'd like to think my voice sounds deeper. So anyways, I'm having a protein shake, which is not just protein, actually. It's a couple of other things. It's actually a meal replacement shake. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get into ketosis because I like how that sort of cleanses up my body, that sort of thing. I'm not a big, I don't profess to have any degree of sort of nutritional knowledge as it relates to going in keto diet or anything like that. I just like how I feel when I do that. Additionally, I really like how I feel when I get to about 90 kilos, and currently I'm at about 95. So anyway, so regardless of my my personal challenges with eating cookies versus not getting fat, and indeed we all are, yeah. Although I'll tell you, at 52, one could argue that I'm only about halfway. I don't know. I don't think I'm any further away from the end than I am from the beginning. I think I'm about in the middle, actually. So, Robert Mack, good to see you, my friend. Mr. Mitch. So, why am I doing this live stream? And what are the topics? The first one, or there's a couple of topics, and they're pretty much around sort of the same genre, same topic. And that is, do I miss anything from the West? Or more importantly, what has changed in the last year? What have I, and a lot of you guys know what I've experienced in the last year because, of course, you've been, you've seen videos, you've been on live chats with me, that sort of thing. And so, there's nothing sort of really new there. But as I look back on it, right, if I'm reflecting back on it, and this came up basically because there was a comment on one of the videos from someone basically around this. They're like, okay, so just curious, like, what did it, what's it been like? And, well, actually, you know what I really do? I'm going to do this. So I'm going to go to the actual comment. But additionally, I also got an email from one of you. I got a couple. So let me just say thank you so much, because I'll tell you right now, the most common question that I've gotten about in the last week has been, how come you're not posting online? Is everything okay? Where are you going? Where have you been? We saw you on Bangkok Strange, but haven't seen you on Live My Ass Off. Like, what's going on, such sort of thing. And I'm just blown away, honored by that, you guys. And so thank you very, very much. I'm honored to be part of the Cool Kids table, guys.
Say, yes, I can get his wife a girl.
Let me just do this. No, I don't want to do mini player. I want to do comments on this video. There we go. I would highly appreciate a reflective perspective on your first phase of life in Thailand. Did it meet your expectations? How do you avoid boredom? Do you miss aspects of your former life in the West? And so I thought, hey, that's that's very cool interaction that I always seem to get from you guys when, you're leaving comments or we're interfacing here at the Cool Kids table. Tim, good to see you. Thank you. Glad you're here. Hi, honey. I had no clue she was going to. So it's about 8:10 now in the Philippines, or it is 8:10 in the Philippines. So the love of my life is here virtually commenting, which is nice. You know what I didn't get is some water, and I need to start drinking some more water. So let me hold on. You can watch, let's see, that's Lamai Beach. Yeah. Phil, good to see you. Congratulations, sir. Hold on. I also actually haven't had a 100 plus in a while, so I grabbed one of those because those are refreshing. Thank you guys for saying hi to Gracie. I love it when you welcome her here. So that, and then again, the other email that I got this morning, along with a couple of others, but it sort of came in this morning, and I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna address that. And I'm trying to get sort of comfortable here on the couch without making this pseudo green screen effect look bizarre. What this is called actually is it's a company called XSplit, or it's a solution called XSplit by that company. And sometimes there's too many artifacts in it for me, actually. But I think it's kind of neat. And I also really, really miss Lamai Beach. And that's actually a live webcam from there. So I thought I'd share that with you guys, too. Mango Sticky Rice, everyone else at the live stream. What do you need to do? You make yourself feel better is go down to... That's a bad thing when I can't do that, huh? When I can't see the comments in time. So, let me see if I can pop out and make sure that I'm current with you guys, because that just wouldn't be, well, it'd be lame, wouldn't it? I hope you're
Guys
all doing
mango
well.
sticky rice,
Everyone, really, like quite a bit well. I think it's a really, really, it's an honor to be here with you guys. It's also an honor to be alive right now. It's really pretty awesome to be, here in Bangkok. And again, I'm, as some of you have also mentioned in comments and that sort of thing, other than you missing Gracie, I'm like, yeah, but that's a big thing. But again, I'm trying to sort of, focus on the positive, as I try to do, and then sort of share that perspective with you guys. Hey, Brian, it's good to see you, man. Just saying hey to all you silly geese. What up, geese and goose? Always good to see your name in there, buddy. The interesting thing. Oh, and so the Restream bot, that's kind of cool. Does it throw the Facebook chats inside of? I was hoping it would do that, because as I recall, sometimes, hey, Missy, good to see you too. What happens would be that you guys on YouTube would see YouTube stuff, but you wouldn't necessarily see Facebook chats unless you were sort of watching the display on the screen. And so I thought, well, there's got to be some sort of technology that does that. Now, I would have preferred to have renamed it something other than Restreambot, but as you can see, it's my initial sort of technical attempt at getting that in there, and so therefore it's pretty cryptic. It's like, left bracket Facebook : username, right? So we're getting there, right? It's just like work in progress kind of thing. But Scuba Thomas, great to see you, man. Great to see you. And so anyway, so Mango says, what I need to do is make myself feel better is go down to the beach when it's about 95 and get a deep tissue massage from 2 Thai ladies. No disagreement, man. No disagreement. I completely am on board with that, as it turns out. And one is actually fine for me, provided that she, is fairly overweight. She can walk on my back. I like that. I did that when I was down in, Koh Ma, in Koh Phangan, or whatever. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Koh Phangan is how a lot of people pronounce it, but I've been very, very highly encouraged to now pronounce the G, or at least the G of the English phonetical spelling, right? Because of course there's no G in Thai. There's, but the BKS studio is too cold for you. I think it lowered your tolerance to germs by being cold. Mitch, I completely agree. Here's the thing. Here's what I don't understand. You come to Southeast Asia, and then you architect an environment that has cold air. Like, what? Why? I mean, I get that there's other things here, and you just want to bring that one thing. That's kind of like saying, well, why do I eat pizza when I'm here in Thailand? All I should do is eat Thai food. Well, there are some other things from back home that I like to do. So I can understand why people do that, but I do not do that. The last thing, I used to say, no matter where I was in the United States, I'm like, man, this country is obsessed with air conditioning. What the hell is our problem? Gracie and I love to go to the movies when she's here, but there's also a very good reason that I don't go to the movies a whole lot. Certainly by myself, I'd rather go with her. But secondly, the movie theaters here are freezing. So I feel like, I'm hanging out, and I truly, this isn't like, I'm not just like, it's kind of chill. No, I'm very uncomfortable when I'm in the Bangkok Strange Studios. Like, my feet hurt because it is so cold in there. Again, Dana is bigger than me, and you've seen guys like that when he walks down the street, he perspires, right? And, and it's his house and he likes to keep it comfortable, but, I also have the technology now to do these streams remotely, and I have is a high likelihood that tomorrow I will be doing this remotely, because I have no interest in living in Bangkok, in living in Southeast Asia, and going somewhere where I'm cold. Like, there's a couple of things that I just simply will not do here now that I'm living in Thailand. The first is basically be cold. The second is complain about the cost of things, because I can always architect a life where things are very reasonable. Like I mean, again, if I went out and, bought steak and had those crazy Western dinners like every night, yeah, it would be more expensive, but it's very reasonable to live here. And for me, it's very easy to live undistracted. And the other thing is that I won't get into a scenario where life feels like work. I mean, I'm retired, right? So, I mean, and if you don't know, I mean, that's kind of one of the reasons why we don't do the Bangkok Strange podcast on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. David's a night guy. David. My God. Dana is a night guy, and I'm more of a morning guy. Like, I mean, I went to bed sort of late last night for me, but I mean, my body just wakes up at basically before. If it wakes up after 6, it's like, oh my God, I've slept in. So my point is that I'm a big morning person, and that's how I like my life. And I'm retired. So when people are like, oh, no, you got to stay up later, we got to do this, I'm like, dude, I'm retired. Like, I don't, this feels like work. And so the good news is of course, Dana, shares that desire with me to not basically have anything in your life feel like work. But, I mean, you can still like do something, right? I mean, in other words, I'm working essentially right now on my hobby. But I'm not really getting paid for it. I'm not at all getting paid for it, because there's zero money that basically comes in. But anyway, Mr. Mitch says he's taking a break from the internet tomorrow. Very interesting. Good for you, dude. I've considered that. I actually even sent Gracie an email. I'm like, or not an email, but a message. I'm like, and Tony, I see you there, buddy. Thank you so much for watching on Facebook. The interesting thing is that I said that to her for a while. And I have yet to do it. I've been like, tomorrow I think I'm going to, well, maybe, a long rainy live stream weekend for me. It was kind of that way, actually. When I got home Saturday, and then even some of the weather yesterday, I was like, I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. That's one of the things that used to really bother me about getting sick, and even still does, quite frankly, even though it's so sunny and so warm over here so often, is that when I'm like sick or something, I'm like, I feel like I'm missing out on something. Like I'm not outdoors and I'm not enjoying the world and that sort of thing. And so I'm missing out on something, right? And so that's something that I hate. So if she didn't answer you, Gracie is not really in quarantine. She is, she can't like fly here, but that's, and that's a fault of the Philippines as well as Thailand. However, she can get around and go to other towns, other barangay, other sort of villages and that sort of thing where she lives. Like unlike Rike, right? I mean, he's pretty much quarantined there to Cebu. And that's not the way it is in Hamadan. So she's got some degree of freedom, but she certainly can't. She can't get on a plane and get to Manila, let alone because once you get to Manila, it's only a 3.5 hour drive over here to the Big Mango. So Mr. Metch says he has AC in his house. The only time I used it in the summer was when I had elderly company over and it was 92 degrees outside. Dude, again. Had I moved to Alaska and started complaining, it's like, dude, this was your choice, right? But I just don't get it. I don't get the air conditioning. Right now, I'm at 27 degrees Fahrenheit. It's Fahrenheit. Yes, I'm still a little sick. 27 degrees Celsius. And so I don't know exactly what that translates to, but I would guess it's, it's a lot closer to 85 than it is to 70, which I would submit to you is basically what Dana, for whatever reason, is set on keeping his room at that freezing cold temperature. And yeah, and Senior Frank says, well, why don't you wear socks, that sort of thing. No, I've had plenty of people say, well, why don't you wear socks? Why don't you wear a sweater? Why don't you do that? What? No. I'm not going to modify my behavior to be not enjoyable. I don't like to wear socks when I get home. I don't like to necessarily wear socks when I go out. If I'm wearing sneakers, I will. But I like to wear flip-flops. I'm a flip-flops and a shorts guy. It's like when I go somewhere cold and, people are like, oh, my God. Well, no, just put pants on. Just put a sweater on. Just put a hat on. I'm like, or I could go somewhere else where I'm happy, like this beach. And so that's basically what I do. I mean, again, that's a big thing Oh, and then Gracie hopped in on her YouTube channel, so that's cool. But yeah, I mean, I got to the point where, I mean, look, here's the thing too, is I really enjoy doing that podcast with Dana. So that's kind of the whole thing where I'm like, I'm willing to sort of suck it up, I suppose. But I'm not really, I'm losing interest in it, especially when the result is I leave and I feel sicker than when I showed up. I mean, that's just insane, right? I mean, again, definition of insane. Same thing, I think, over and over again, expecting different results. It's like, oh, I keep going into this cold room for like 2 to 3 hours at a time, and every time I leave that room, I don't feel good. I wonder what I should stop doing. Go into the, come on, Ryan. I mean, it's like, there's a whole part of like growing up that I'm really psyched that I actually brought in my backpack with me when I came over here. So, and Tim says, I sweat plain and simple. If the sun is out, I am sweating. Winter, summer, does not matter. I like sweating. And, I mean, I'll go outside. JC, who you may have known, I've heard it from him, but I've heard it from other people too. What he hates is when the level of temperature gets so high and the level of humidity is so high that when he goes outdoors, like under his shirt, he can feel the sweat like dripping down. And I'm like, oh my God, that's my barometer for like, why I feel so good right now outdoors. I mean, when that happens, I'm just like, I'm in the right place. And again, no one's twisting other people's arms to live in this part of the world. I mean, it is very hot here. And so anyway, I mean, there's plenty of places. And so here's the other thing too, is that for me, like environment, I discovered is very, very important. The ambient temperature that is outdoors, the amount of sunlight that I get, that's also very important. And that's not as odd, one would say, because at Dark 30, yeah, I seem to get up at Dark 30 almost every morning too, Mr. Mitch. Even if I go to bed at Dark 30. Bedroom windows are open all year round, fully open. I like fresh air. Yeah, so what I do, Mitch, is I have my windows open with the air conditioning on. Because I like a little bit of cool air, but I prefer outdoor, fresh, warm air. And, my electric bill's never been over like a couple of thousand baht. It's rarely over 1,000 baht, so. 27 degrees C is perfect, just like the gold price. I see what you did just there. MetTech says, you're fortunate to have a bedroom. I sleep in a commercial cupboard. Really? Interesting. I don't want to have some dying old timers in the house, says Mitch. Yeah, that's probably a wise idea. Mango says, when I get over there to retire, the only thing I'm going to work on is my tan up top. Good for you, dude. Absolutely. I mean, I'll tell you, here's what's funny about me is that when I was going to first come over here, I said to myself, okay, I'm just going to go over there. And I was telling my buddies this too, because they're like, okay, you're quitting your job and you're moving to, and I'm like, yeah. I'm just going to go over there and I'm going to go to the beach and I'm going to put my feet in the sand and I'm going to stare at my foot. Gracie's going to come over. We're going to travel all over Southeast Asia, obviously, but we're going to go to like the night market at night. And then during the day, we're just going to go to the beach. We're going to sit down. We're going to sit down under an umbrella or in the sun. We're going to get coconuts. We're going to drink that. We're going to have that. We're going to scoop out the coconut meat stuff for like lunch, and we'll have the coconut water, and then night we'll go to the night market, and then we'll just do it all over again. Well, that lasted a couple of days, and then I wanted to like do something, right? So of course I started doing videos, right? And I'd been doing videos before that too. So I started doing videos of when I was down there, and I'll get to that part too. When I say when I was down there, I'm talking about Cha-am, meaning the beginning of Gracie and I's life here in Bangkok, more permanently than me being back home. And what I would do is, or what I wanted to do rather, for us is to basically travel about Southeast Asia. So, I mean, that's gotten squelched by external things that I simply have no control over. But Mitch says that Chevy van, you swap the fuel pump, it could be a good sleeping place, MetTech. Ah, that's good. I didn't know you did that. Joe P says that's my happy place. Hot and humid. Not many people that I would talk to in the United States, I would argue, meaning at least 51% would complain usually about high humidity. When it was like 90, 100 degrees, that sort of thing in San Diego, it wouldn't get as humid, certainly here in Southeast Asia, but it would get hot and humid. Most people would complain about that. And that was absolutely the best time of year. Any day it's above 80 degrees and sunny, ideally. that's what I want to do. That's where I want to be. That's where I want to live. And that's where I want to experience. That's what I need. Yeah, it's not necessarily want. That's kind of what I need around me. Hey, Jay. Oh, my gosh. Good to see you, man. Good to see your name pop up there. I went to, let's see, when did I meet Jay? I mean, we went to, grade school together, but I'm trying to think, like, when it was. Were we in Miss Ovaska's class together? Is that when we first met? Anyway, he's from my hometown, and he's one of the guys that I grew up with. Missy says, you've never just sat around even when we were kids, always doing something. Really? Because I don't really remember that. My mom tells me that. She goes, oh, Michael, you were always very busy. Then I just thought, well, she's probably just being politically correct. What she meant was, Michael, you were always being sort of loud. And no, I'm sure. But yeah, that's kind of neat. What's cool is on the display here, it shows that she's from Facebook, but then inside of the YouTube chat, it seems like at least you guys can sort of see when someone comments from another thing. So anyway, I'll trim that down, and I'll try to make that, I'll try to have the comment contain less of that stuff, but actually it's got kind of the information in there that's kind of, which is what I like. So wow, this Restream bot is brilliant. First time I've ever seen it. Yeah, it's they've got some cool features. I like Restream a lot. The thing I don't like about them, believe it or not, is when I use Restream the way that I use StreamYard. And in StreamYard, you'll see tons of guys doing this, right? They display the single comment that they're sort of focused on versus having this scroll. You'll see how they'll highlight one comment, and in StreamYard that literally will display the entire comment that's there up to the maximum number of characters, which is allowed by YouTube, which I believe is 255 and or 250 or something like that, to that effect. And so the thing that bothers me about Restream is when I use their solution in the browser, much like I would use StreamYard, and I display their comment, it caps it off at like 100 characters. And I'm like, what technology company ingests data? And when there's like a finite amount that is what the data you want to, why would you just limit it? I mean, that's just so, change the font size. I mean, if you're worried about screen usage, it's just really interesting to me how other people code things and how they design things based on what they think the user wants the most. And so I don't use their solution for that, because when I'm using those solutions, which also allows me to bring guests in and that sort of thing. I'm using OBS right now. OBS is not necessarily a very elegant solution when you want to bring guests in. I can do it via Skype, and I've set that up, and that was another thing that I've been doing over the last few days. But Joe, thank you so much for updating everyone. 20 for watching, 12 thumbs up, and 2 thumbs down. I think I get 2 thumbs down pretty much every time. And so I'm just like, okay, whatever. You were the 2 people that will basically never hang out with us at the Cool Kids table. So if any of you guys are ever wondering, oh my God, are there going to be ever any empty seats? Well, there's going to be at least 2. At least 2. Trust me, not a problem. So that's funny. I'm going to show this, Joe. Oh, okay, good. Someone else showed it. But what I just saw in Joe's comment where he had said, hit the thumbs up and the subscribe, and there's like the muscle symbol. For some reason, that showed as being grayed out initially on the YouTube chat. Isn't that like ridiculous? Like, anyway, there's a lot of things that I don't necessarily get about technology. Makes Facebook part of the chat here. And I believe that it makes the other ones too. Like, I think if you were on Periscope, I believe if you were on Periscope and you commented, it would show up. I mean, again, that was how I, wanted it to work. That's how I designed it, meaning that I'm using something that they provide, but then I also have, and it's interesting too, because I've had these ideas. Like, what I've always wanted to do is be able to have like credits roll at the end of the stream for everyone that is in the chat. And so therefore, the minute the chat starts, it starts keeping track of all the people in the chat. And then it would scroll the people's names at the end of to thank you guys. Because right now, if you don't know, I mean, basically the only like out of the box solutions like that, they will only display people that, pay. I mean, it's just like, dude, that's offensive, right? So It'll only like show people that did a super chat, and it'll only show. I don't have subscriptions turned on, but it would only show people that like joined the subscriptions or channel members. Sorry, if you want to have membership. I think that's what YouTube calls it. I can't remember. Each platform has its sort of little. Oh, and I'm streaming on Twitch too, so I don't know if you guys are ever. I'm not streaming on Instagram. I didn't bother getting the key and then do it because you got to do it with a lot of these. You just basically push a button and it just pushes it out to it. There's a couple of, obviously like for YouTube, you fill out the description field, and then if you don't know, you put keywords in there for SEO, and monetization turns on or off depending upon what you've got in there. Drummer Chicago, good to see you. Thank you so much for coming by. So anyway, I was, also, I was sick, but then I was also like doing something, right? I wasn't just sitting there like, oh my God, I'm poor me. I'm saying I was, so I was doing, stuff with technology as I like to do. But then I was also thinking about what we would talk about today. Additionally, I also started this at 7 a.m., which is sort of different for me. 7 a.m. in the Big Mango. 8 a.m. Philippines, and 10 a.m. for Sydney. 7 a.m. here also becomes 5 p.m. on the West Coast, and 8 p.m. on the right coast. 5 p.m. left, 8 p.m. right. And I wanted to do this because I wanted to do this and go to meet some buddies at about, we were going to meet around noon. And so if I leave here at like 10:30, then I basically get there early to sort of, set up where we're going to hang out. So anyway, so I was figuring, okay, well, I'll do a 3-hour live stream, 7 to 10. That'll be pretty easy for me. So anyway, so that's the other reason that I'm doing what I'm doing now. Cody says, Atlanta in the summer suck, but I'm able to deal with the heat in Bangkok. I'm guessing because there's AC everywhere, and there is, yeah. I love cold normally, but I'm able to get cold when needed in Thailand. So no heat. Yeah, I mean, there is. It's kind of like there's AC and Wi-Fi everywhere, right? And there's, of course, the best food in the world on the street. The best food in the world is made on the sidewalk in Thailand, and so that's... Yeah, it's pretty easy to get some. Yeah, censorship is everywhere. It is. It's frustrating. I don't particularly like it, but I mean, I can understand the business reason behind why they're trying to do that. They're like, look, we're in the business of making profit, generating revenue. The way that we do that is we have, a platform where people will pay us money to advertise on there. And if we don't censor effectively the data on that platform, then people won't give us money to advertise. So it sucks. I get it. Hey, Scott. Good to see you, man. Thank you for coming by. I really appreciate it. 8:30 p.m. Nice. On the East Coast. Mike, please check it. Oh, my God. Did I not put the thing on? Thank you for letting me know, Joe. There we go. So now my ringer is on. Oh, look at that, dude. Joe, you just bought me a smoothie. And of course, that's a third-party app. So unfortunately, that's not integrated with the API. So please stay healthy. Please put something healthy on it. I will. Thank you very much, Joe. I appreciate the smoothie. That's really, really, really awesome. And I'm honored that you guys want to be part of this in that way. I'm totally cool with you being part of it in any way you want to be. Especially if it adds value to the other members, right? At the table. Aloha. Mahalo for coming by. Good to see you here. Not plus 9,001 points for street food. Yeah, it's pretty rad, right? I mean, it's just like, because I got to tell you, sometimes I'll be walking through a mall or whatever, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I should go over to the food court or whatever. Or I could walk outside through the parking lot, onto the street, onto the busy street, where there's exhaust or whatever. It probably adds to the spice. But I'm going to get food there, so. Anyway, so let's see. Mango asks, have you decided what your plan is to take and get Gracie into Thailand? I know that Thailand always changing. Who can't come, who can. It's hard to figure out. It is. So the short answer is yes, I have. And yes, the plan changed, and therefore, or rather than the environment changed, and so therefore the plan changed. I mean, if I could, and that's the other thing too, is I wanted to touch on Rob, we're good friends. He asked me, he said, hey, so just curious, like, how come you haven't done any videos? And I responded, I said, well, the other thing too, is that I consider myself pretty self-aware. However, what I had not really acknowledged or maybe noticed lately is that are my behaviors based on my disappointment, being bummed, or I don't think I'm clinically depressed, but like being depressed, being bummed out, being sad, being disappointed in the fact that, half the team isn't here, right? I mean, in other words, there's red, green, and blue that make up colors, right? If there was only green up there, then it would look a little bit odd, right? I mean, you got 3 that are part of the team. And so Team Mackie is me and Gracie, and, she's not here, right? Physically. I mean, we talk, like, obviously she hops in on but, we talk on WhatsApp every day, all day. And, and occasionally we'll video chat. It's sometimes tough to do that because she'll either have customers there, or the short answer is that, because you saw her on the live stream a while ago, is that the internet in the Philippines just doesn't really sort of afford us the ability to have reliable video chats. So what I noticed, and I think you guys might remember this, I had planned to go to Krabi. And I had a plane ticket, and I didn't have any hotel reservations because I'm like, okay, it's not gonna be sold out. And so I'm like, I'll just cruise down there, and I'll get to the airport, and I'll get either a bus over to Anang Beach, or I'll go to Krabi Town, and I'll get a motorbike there, and I'll cruise around, whatever. Look at that! Thank you so much, Restream. I appreciate getting a certificate for showing up. But I appreciate you guys making 100 comments. That's the cool thing. And thank you, Joe. Yeah, I do. I really appreciate it, buddy. And I didn't go to Krabi. I got up sort of like the previous night. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to pack. And I'm like, I'm not really feeling it. And then by the time I went to sleep, I'm like, okay, unless something crazy changes like overnight and I wake up in the morning and I'm just like, you know what, I'm good. Because my flight wasn't until like 10:30. So it wasn't like I needed to wake up at like 4:30 in the morning and pack and get to the airport, by 7 or whatever and check in. Like a lot of my flights will leave at 7:30 and stuff. So I didn't pack, and I got up, and I didn't want to pack, and I didn't pack. And so I basically just blew off my flight down to Krabi. Now, from a logistics standpoint, the disappointment there is that what I ended up doing, of course, is I ended up being a no-show on my flight. And with this AirAsia pass, I'm only allowed 3 of those. So that's my second one. The good news is that 72 hours prior to my return flight, I called them and I moved that, so I don't have a no-show. But I moved it to like October 24th, which is I think either next Friday or Saturday. And so next Tuesday, I'm simply going to fly down to Krabi, and I'm going to kind of hang out. The only reason I'm leaving on Tuesday and not like just basically leaving Friday morning, cruising down there and then taking the flight to come back, is that I do want to go to a beach for sure. I want to go to a beach. Well, it's a good question, Roger. Is it pronounced Krabi or Krabi? I've actually heard it pronounced Krabi, where basically the I, it's got that one of the 5 tones that show up in Thai. So the short answer is I say Krabi, and everyone else that seems to hear me say that knows what I mean, and they know where I'm going. I've heard most Thais say it Pattaya. But there's some people that say, well, I'm going to Pattaya. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I mean, I get it. But what I keep hearing probably the most incorrectly, and I'm very guilty of this, Roger, is Kopanjan. Because there's a G in the phonetical spelling of it, right? So at first I thought it was, I'm going to Kopangan. But then I guess it's Kopanjan. And again, I don't, I go back and forth on that. But I have not Krabi. I don't know if I've heard with the O. That's interesting. But I have heard some people say Phuket, like pronounce the PH like a, right? And I'm like, no, it's not like philanthropic. It's not, it's Phuket. And every time I've ever heard say, it's like very, very understandable, very noticeable P. It's not like a soft Phuket, Regardless, I think I'm interested to go. I'm glad I'm not going when it's like high season kind of thing, because apparently Ao Nang Beach is a total, tourist, like it's the Patong Beach of Krabi, right? Krabi. But I do want to go there, and I do want to check out Railay Beach, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly either, because I believe I've seen it spelled Railay, which, again, and sort of RAIL, rail, like train rail, and then AY, Railay. Well, yeah, I get it. Anyway, there. I do want to kind of check that out. You can only get there by boat, but that'll be fine. If the weather's good, I go. If the weather's not good, I don't. And so I'm doing that. Anyway, why am I talking about this? Well, because it was like a trip that I had planned to go to the beach, which I love the beach, but I didn't feel like going. And I was like, all right, well, whatever. I guess I'm just in a blech. So I'm in a mood, whatever. And so I'm going through it. And then, a few of you, including Rob, I think yesterday or the day before, acknowledged the fact that I hadn't really made any videos. And certainly, of course, I haven't been at the beach, but there's plenty to do in Bangkok. And I've got a bitchin', gimbal. So I can just throw the phone in that and go right outside and, hang out, and walk up and down the street and do a walk and talk, go to Lumpini Park. I love Lumpini Park. I mean, I did a live stream from there, but so then I just sort of paused and I thought, if I'm being sort of really honest with myself, then the reality is that my behavior is changing based on the fact that my emotions are such that I don't want to, I don't know if I'm feeling sorry for myself, but I just was like, I just don't want to. And a lot of times I'll hear people refer to that as the efforts, I'm not going to say that, but it's like, am I in that space, that sort of thing? Because again, if you guys have watched me for more than probably one time, hopefully I injected some degree of gratitude in my talking, in my speech, in my storytelling. And for me, I mean, I don't have to see a guy without legs to be grateful I have legs. And so, I can sit in my condo. I don't need to have any, and just think for 15 minutes, maybe with my eyes closed. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm grateful. I get a message. One of the messages I woke up into the morning, the first thing I do is I check WhatsApp, because that's how Gracie and I communicate. And then usually I have this other app where I put down, okay, I need to take, this medication, and I'm taking my blood pressure. I'm trying to monitor that. And by the way, it's not because it's bad. This morning it was 112/70. So it's quite good. But I'm curious about that. And then I weigh myself, and then potentially I have the other metrics that I do. Depending upon what sort of procedure I'm going through in my life, process, hobby. And so I'll do that. But then one of the other things I'll do is check Line, right? And so a buddy of mine sent me a message, and he's 31 years sober today. Well, when I hear the success of other people that I'm either really, really close to, or maybe just know on a cursory basis, but but this guy he's been part of the channel for a while, and 31 years, I'm like, dude, that's so awesome. So I get really grateful for a number of things. But I was, I did need to acknowledge the fact that I just simply wasn't in a good mood because Gracie's not here. My fiance's not here. My wife's not here. My girlfriend's not here. My whatever you want to call her. My teammate. I mean, she's this is, I don't have another. And I'm not looking for, well, maybe if I find a better, no, dude, that's not happening. I've met the one that is going to be, the other half. And, I was sharing this with a buddy the other day too. And he's well, compromise with my girlfriend, it's a 50-50 kind of thing. And I said, no. Here's my impression of successful relationships. It's not 50-50. It's 100-100. Okay. You're in. It's just, that's the way I describe it. And again, that's sort of a tongue in cheek thing. So yeah, Cody, it's disappointing for sure. I mean, treading water for 5 hours is difficult. And again, I'm not, I'm not chastising you for the word difficult, but I know what you mean. And I thank you. I appreciate that. It is difficult. It's not, and it's certainly not part of my plan. Because, if you talked to me last November, well, if you saw any of my videos last November, a lot of the discussion that I was having in November with Gracie is how are we going to go back to the wonderful U.S. that will be nice and hot and humid in July and August and basically go down and hang out with Stuck in Florida. It's good to see you, buddy. Thank you for coming by. It's pronounced Fach. Absolutely, Brian. I knew you would come in with that, buddy. It's definitely influenced things that I've done. Now, the good news is that I'm not like underneath the covers, right? I mean, and trust me, dude, there's been times in my life. One of the main reasons that I moved from Boston and got my ass to San Diego is because in Boston, at about 3:30 or 4 in the afternoon in January, it gets dark. And I do not do well when it gets dark that early. And then you get up in the morning and it's like not light out till 7. And so here, I like it because now, again, I love the summers in the United States where I grew up because, of course, it doesn't get dark until like 9 or 9:30 sometimes in like July. And, the sun comes up at like 5 in the morning. I would prefer that. I mean, if the sun came up at 5 in the morning here in Thailand and then the sun didn't go down till like 7 or rather like 9 o'clock, that would be awesome. But that doesn't occur. But I'm very photon driven. Now, I've never gone through the analysis, but there's been discussion with doctors about, seasonal affective disorder and that sort of thing. But I've never, I don't know if I've been like truly diagnosed for that. But because basically my solution to that is to get on a plane and get my butt somewhere where it's sunnier and warmer, because that, for me, that's an infinitely better solution than taking medication. Now, I take medication. Like if I have a headache, I take a Tylenol. Like, I don't think, I'm going to tough this out. I'm going to fly to a place. No, so I do that, okay? So there are times in my life where I believe that Western medicine is absolutely the best thing in the whole world, but a lot of times that medicine is me just traveling west, not to the western part of the United States. I mean, I moved my entire life to San Diego because I'm like, I am not happy here in the winter. And at the end of the day, after traveling to another bunch of sort of warm places, it became painfully obvious to me that, there are places in the United States that are warmer more than 3 months out of the year. They're warm like 300 days out of the year. And I'm like, I got to go there. Hey, thank you, Stock. Don't forget the like button. You're awesome, buddy. MedTech says, don't ever feel obliged to release videos. People are grateful for whatever is published. Thank you, MedTech. I appreciate that, buddy. That's really cool, dude. Thank you. Brian says, mine makes me to be a better man so I could get a better woman. But I'm bumped. As an Alaskan, I can appreciate that reasoning. Yeah, Cody, again, look, here's the thing, is that people live all over the United States. Canada isn't unpopulated. There's plenty of people that live there. My entire family is from Canada, okay? So, they're not from Mexico, for example, right? And so there's plenty of people that live in Mexico, and there's plenty of people that live there year round. They don't just go there when it's warm out, right? So anyway, so my point is that I've discussed this for a while, and that is that I'm grateful that I've discovered that one of the things that is important for me to enjoy my life is to have a pleasurable environment. Now, that takes on many forms. I don't particularly like cold. That's obvious. The second thing, though, is rain. When there's rain, and I've done videos on this before and I talk about it before, I like energetic rain. I don't like drizzle. I don't like mist. I like friggin' rain. I like it to commit. I like there to be tons of water. I'm okay with flooding. I like a lot of water. Ideally, it's clean. When I was a kid in the summer and it would rain, all of us, like all of Missy, for example, that was here, she lived right next door to me. And if it started raining in the summer and like that sort of thing, we would run outside. And we would play in the puddles, and we would just and so, but it was warm. Let's be clear. And to be fair, we also dressed up like crazy people that, potentially standard Alaskan gear in the winters. And when there was 4.5 feet of snow outdoors, we would also go out and play into that. But the point is that I have this affinity for warm surroundings. And so that makes me happy. So I'm really grateful. Again, I want to talk about another thing that I'm grateful for is I'm grateful that at this time in my life, with all this nonsense that's going on, that's limiting all of us from doing pretty much everything we want to do, right? I mean, it's one thing to say, well, I can't go to watch a $10 movie because I've only got $8 in my pocket. Okay, well, yes, but there's a high likelihood that you could probably, the guys on the Cool Kids table, we could all probably put our brains together and figure out a way to generate $2 more in revenue somehow. And then if we absolutely wanted to go and enjoy that movie, then we would, $10 would materialize. But I can't, I mean, maybe there might be an amount of money, but it would be so significantly distracting that I could spend to get Gracie over here. But the other thing too is that, along the lines of like, this is a team. We're doing this. This isn't just like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to go out with Gracie until, summer. And it's like, no. This is 5 years in. Okay. This is year 5. And it's just like, I am committed to this. I'm quite certain she is too, but just, I'm speaking for myself. So we have plans, and that involves the next 5 years and the next 10 years and the next 15 years and the next 20 years. Well, the next 5 years, Euryce is going to become 18. And so she's going to go to a college, and she is not going to college in the Philippines. I can tell you that right now. That's like saying, she wants to be a professional downhill skier. Well, great. Then she's going to live in the Philippines. No. You go where there is the ability to have things. And the universities, as far as I'm concerned, the universities in the Philippines will not improve the quality of her life, in my mind, with the ease with which going to a better university will improve the quality of her life. So, again, she's 13. She wants a mountain bike. That's great. And, but as someone who has kind of taken on the role of providing for this family, if you will, I'm going to make sure that the opportunity for her to go to the university of her choice, effectively, outside of the Philippines, from a good university is available. And so because of that, there's some things that we need to do now that she's 13. And so we need to make sure that she has all of the proper documentation so that she can get the proper passport, for example. And you say to yourself, well, Mike, come on, all you got to do is put all the paperwork together and then, you just apply for it and a month later you get a passport. Well, yeah, unless there's COVID. And there's a whole bunch of COVIDs, maybe not to this extreme. Let's hope never in our lives again will this level of lame just kind of show up. But the point is that for us to get Euryce a passport pretty much by the end of 2021, we needed to do a bunch of stuff now. We have a date in February where Gracie needs to go to court to get the proper paperwork together, because it's just the way that it is. And it's not like she's, I'm not making a felony into a misdemeanor for this kid. No. It's just, there's stuff that needs to be done. I want to get her a passport. I want her to start traveling internationally with Gracie and I, so that when I kind of lob over the net, maybe you should go to university in Singapore. She's not like, well, that's more than 25 miles away from the house. She's like, oh yeah, okay, I've been on a plane before. I understand this international travel thing that you crazy white guys speaks of. I'm willing to potentially go over there and go to one of the hawker stores. Missy says, I missed the summer thunderstorms in Hingham. Very little thunder in Oregon. Yeah, there's thunder and lightning in Southeast Asia. I'll tell you that right now. And it is something that's really cool. Jorgen asks, Mike, have you ever watched YouTuber Thailand Bound? He does great relationship videos. No, I haven't. If you don't know, I always do the Thailand Bound. I'm always interested in other people's take on that. Thank you, Jorgen. I will. And then Joe says, Mike, you have 1.82K people that care about you via the Shaka. And we all miss Gracie. Just, yeah. Yep. You're great, Joe. Thank you very much. And all you guys that make up the Cool Kids table, quite frankly, you're great. You're truly great. Thank you. And Stuck says it would be 120 degrees 120 degrees Fahrenheit in every day in Florida if it did that. Kevin D, I assume that's it. Kevin D says, I hear you. The situation is controlling your life. Feel helpless. It will blow over, but hard without an end date. Yeah, I mean, again, that's the disappointment part of it, right, Kevin? I mean, I'm renewing my visa this year differently than I had planned. Okay, that's that's kind of like, okay, well, I wanted to buy the 3-speed fan and they only had the 2-speed fan, so okay, right? I thought I was going to be able to renew my visa by basically Gracie and I taking a weekend trip to Cambodia, stamping out, stamping back in, and then blam, I would have another year. Well, no, it didn't work out that way. So thousands of baht later, I will have the visa that I want to keep me, that I need basically to keep me here for 1 year, because there's absolutely no way I'm leaving Thailand. I mean, again, I feel like the luckiest guy in the world, and I'm not complaining. I'm just sort of sharing with you the feelings that I'm going through. In other words, feelings aren't wrong, right? I mean, me walking down the sidewalk naked with a hatchet in my hand, that's wrong. So there are certain behaviors that are wrong. But if I just think about that, or I just share about the potential of doing that, here, of course, on the public internet, what could possibly go wrong? So I was acknowledging the fact that, there are these external things, as you were saying, that are affecting my behavior. And so therefore, when that occurs, I'm like, okay, well, then I probably need to do something differently in order to, And so one of the questions came in, it said, would I do something the way it was asked? I mean, again, would you do anything differently? That's a fairly common, but the way that this was asked is that, would I do something major differently? And, I suppose the major thing that Gracie and I did is that back in March, several days before the president of the Philippines said that the Manila airport is basically closing, and effectively, if Gracie did not go home then she would not be home now. Selfishly, that would be awesome, because she'd be sitting right where this thing is, here on the couch. That would be great. However, she went home and, through no planning, certainly, but bad luck, her mom got into an accident and cut her foot. And Gracie essentially, gratefully, was able to attend to her, bring her to the hospital, bring her around, carry her around, have her on the shoulders, buy the do all this, the stuff, right? Because, if you cut your foot and you can't walk around and you're by yourself, that's a pain. Now, of course, there's other family members there too. But the point is that we were really grateful that Gracie was there to be able to take. Now, the nice thing would have been, okay, so now that mom is good, Gracie just hops on a plane and cruises back to Thailand. Yeah, so that's a drag. So I wouldn't change that. I would certainly change the result. But major decisions, meaning like sold my car, got rid of my stuff, and no, I'm really happy with the way that it rolled out, actually. Because I didn't come over here till November 21st. November 21st, midnight, basically. So the 22nd, I landed. And hey, Todd, thanks for coming by, buddy. Good to see you. I know that it's 8 a.m., dude. I thought you'd be sleeping in a lot more than this. I know you were up watching football, right? Football? Or just sports in general. I was able to, and I knew that I was coming at the end of November, and I therefore proactively flew back to see my folks in October. And again, this guy does not go to New England in October unless it's absolutely to see my parents, who I love and like a lot. And so therefore I wanted to let them know what I was doing, and I wanted to talk with them. And I also, was like, okay, well, look, I'm not going to not come back. Like every summer, Gracie and I will be back here. And if not Gracie and I, then definitely me, And so, let me make sure I'm getting to, okay. Let me clear out all of this stuff so that if a new thing comes in and I'm notified of it, I don't miss it, because I do not like to do that. So, I was able, it wasn't like desperation for sure. I mean, again, the plan that was executed was simply the one that I had fantasized about being able to do from the first day that I ever entered Thailand. I mean, it was less than 24 hours for sure that I was in Thailand, and I'm like, oh, I'm staying. Like this, I don't know what it is, but I love everything about this. I mean, it was probably like 2 a.m. It was like 85 degrees. That was pretty awesome for me. But again, at the end of the day, that was what we were doing. So I'm trying to think if there's any sort of things that I would do over again differently. I mean, in other words, was the result so disappointing that I would want to go back and do it over again? Well, yeah, I mean, I should have bought a hell of a lot more stock on March 23rd and not waited till April 23rd. But whatever. I mean, it's yeah. So what am I going to do? Be able to go buy more rice on the street? I mean, I don't have the requirement to buy a weekly Tesla, So it's like I don't need. Anyway, Matt Tech says I'm the polar opposite. I don't function well in the morning and can work late into the night. Absolutely, and I got to tell you, I probably know more guys that are evening, late night owl guys than I know morning guys. I'm definitely a morning guy. Joe, looks like we may break from the rain for a few days, says Stuck in Florida. And so I hope it rained a little here. And you talking about Florida, I assume? Brian says, no gender studies or critical race theory classes in the Philippines. How do they expect to make something of your life? Yeah, absolutely. Good morning, Caesar. Good to see you, buddy. How you doing? I haven't been... I would like to go get a burger with you again, but I haven't allocated the attention units for it, so I apologize. Mike, did you lose the pledge of this Lucky Strikes? No. You know what I've done, though, Joe, is I haven't regularly updated you. I really only go to about 4 7-Elevens regularly. There's one underneath my condo. There's one across the street. And then there's another one down at the market I go to. So for the most part, and then actually there's one right in front of, down the street from Dana's place. So when I get dropped off at the bus there, then I go in and every single one of those places I've asked for Lucky Strikes. I am thinking now, just flashed in my mind, Joe, you know how they have like tobacconist shops in the United States? And usually they're just like a bunch of, fancy cigars and stuff. But a lot of times they'll have, the brands that you can't, like I remember like in the United States, for the most part, you can go everywhere and you can buy Marlboro. And I remember when I was in like Vegas and I was near one of those, it's like right on the corner there at Venetian Palazzo. I used to stay at Palazzo. And so you would walk down the aisle and you would sort of enter the casino. And off to the right, there would be one of those tobacconist shops. And I remember going in there and I remember seeing Players. Players are they're the Marlboro of Canada, at least they were when I was a young boy. My uncle used to smoke Players. And so I remember seeing those. But my point to that is that usually there's, cigarettes that aren't necessarily the normal cigarettes that are around. But no, I haven't found any yet, Joe. And I do keep looking. I just don't keep updating. So I apologize. Joe P. appears rained all but 5 days in the last 3 months. Wow. I didn't know St. Augustine got that much rain. I mean, again, it doesn't rain all day, every day, right? I mean, it doesn't rain all day. I mean, it rains every day, but it only rains like for several hours, right? That's kind of weird. Let's see. Oh, and Roger McGee hopped on over to Facebook. Thanks, buddy. Watching the Chiefs get beat by the Raiders. Got it. Yeah. It was thought Mahomes had to come. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know players, so I assume that's what it means. If I lose the only bad thing in my life, I believe I'm good. If a lose is the only bad thing in my life, I believe I'm good. Besides, need to take a test. Oh, right. Yeah. Exactly. Got it. Vin, good to see you. Good morning. Switching back and forth between this live stream and King Lee's. Oh, I didn't know he had one. He does like live streams about baseball, right? I mean, or sports maybe. But that's pretty cool. Argentine Steakhouse. Today I'm on my 90-day reporting thing. Yeah, I would actually be sort of doing it this week. The 15th is the day, right? So I've had like the last 14 days, basically. Or today's the 12th, so I've had the last I've had the last 11 days to start it, and then starting on the 15th, I have another 7 days. But I've been told that I'm getting my new visa this week, and so that will probably materialize. I think that's like a holiday or something, so I may not get it till like Wednesday or Thursday. But if for whatever reason I don't get it this week, then I'm going to go through the process of doing the 90-day reporting, and just do it before the 20. Well, I'll just simply do it before I go to get on a plane and fly to Krabi, which I'm doing next Tuesday. Todd says to Mango, yeah, did it with a quick highlight at the half. Got it. Leaving soon to grab a taxi across town. Okay, Caesar, cool, man. Have an amazing day here in the Big Mango. It's 8 o'clock now. I'm going to just chat for a little bit more, but I'm definitely going to chill out. Oh, and I bit my tongue yesterday too, man. That was so annoying because I'm like, and I'm like, anyway. That's my biggest problem today, right? I'm living the dream, and in fact, I am living the dream. Aztec says to Joe, if you go into a Smoke Mart tobacco shop that usually sells all sorts of little things, they can probably order a carton for you if you ask. Todd says, is a Chiefs loss the only bad thing in my life? I know I'm good. Right, got it. If a Chiefs loss. Got it. Thank you. King is covering the NBA Finals and the Dodgers playoffs. Joe says, sorry, just you don't have to go look. I need to quit anyway before I get there. Yeah, no, I get it, man. Is that what you smoke back home? Lucky Strikes? Wow. I assume unfiltered, right? Does Lucky Strike even make a filtered cigarette? I used to smoke, but I think I've had Lucky Strikes before. Oh, yeah. My buddy David, this guy that was on my board for this organization, when we would go to conferences in Vegas, he would bring this like Zippo lighter, and I think he got it like when he was in the Navy, or it was just it had some sentimental value. So he'd bring his Zippo lighter with him, and then he would go buy a pack of Lucky Strikes, and then we would do our presentation, and we do all this stuff, and then once it was like sort of successful, the meeting was successful, then he would break out his Lucky Strikes, and so kind of celebrate that way. Okay. Roger says from Facebook, I bit my tongue playing baseball. 7 stitches. Was not a good day. Ouch. I'm told, or I think I've heard, that your tongue is one of the more quickly healing places in your body. I actually sliced my eye, believe it or not. I was standing up from my desk, like at school, picked up a piece of paper, and the paper went like right across my eye, just like, bad move kind of thing. So sliced my, is it the cornea on the, anyway. And so they put drops in there called Icaine, believe it or not. So yes, they numbed them quite well. But apparently that part heals as quickly too. And I had like an eye patch for a while or something. Yeah. So anyway, Todd says he got notifications from Facebook today. Best, first one ever. Yeah. So I went live on Facebook today differently than I normally would go live on Facebook. I didn't schedule this on Facebook. I scheduled it on YouTube, but then I sort of flicked it on. So that might be why. Stuck says to Todd, I didn't know get a notification from Facebook. Could be exciting. Maybe I should join Facebook. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I stream again, obviously look at you guys are the ones that sort of convinced me, that, encouraged me to do the whole super chat thing. And again, it was very fun getting to 1,000 subs, and I'm stoked that we have 1,800 folks that are part of the Cool Kids table. And I'm honored when you guys super chat. Again, not a requirement. I'm honored when you guys buy me a smoothie. Joe, thank you so much for that. And I'm honored when you guys, do PayPal or whatever. And, usually it goes to, quite frankly, buying smoothies. And so it wasn't just an FYI for Mike. Got it. Very good. I got an email about an Impact. Impact Tech is basically like an organization of startups kind of thing. So I always get excited when I hear about new startup events that could potentially be interesting to me. Aztec says to Roger Stitches, yow, I tripped on a tent rope running around one night on school camp. Bleeding impressions, top and bottom, all the way around my tongue. Swelled something cruel. Ouch, buddy. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I mean, I've dislocated my shoulder. I had a hematoma on my, and you can still feel the bump. I mean, I don't even know. I guess the lighting is probably, and of course my face is fat because I like cookies. But I still have a bump there from that, and that was a motorbike accident I got in Apatia, and so that, I mean, it was a big hematoma, and I was in physical therapy for, God, almost, I would say 6 months maybe. And eventually it was the doctors were just like, well, look, it's just simply not going to, some stretching here. It's not going to, go away no matter how much. This is a super chat. Thank you, Aztec. You're cool, buddy. I really appreciate that. That's awesome. I will, well, $2. I'll tell you what, dude, 2 Aussie dollars. That's, let's see, how many baht is that? It's about what, 50 baht? Oh, dude, that's like 2 smoothies right there. Boom. I'm going to stop measuring things in smoothies. I got a buddy down in Pattaya, and he measures his life in short times and long times. I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to buy this little laptop. It's going to be about $700 or $800. He's like, dude, that's like 10 short times. And see, I was wondering whether that would show up. Good. A little bit of a delay, Streamlabs. But yeah, let me work on that too, because what I want to do is I want to be able to, again, I'm trying all this new sort of, cute technology, right? And I'll put that over here on the left. So if you guys want to make a sound and have, then you know how wonderfully juvenile that is. But I put it out so it's outside of the chat now. So there you go. Anyway, Aztec, thanks a lot, buddy. Yeah, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I know exactly what I'm going to do with that money. I'm gonna spend it on my smoothie guy down the street, because I actually haven't been over there for a couple of days. For whatever reason, I was on the other side of the street when I was walking back the other day because I had to pick up something. I think I don't know. Oh, you know what I also need to do is I also need to see if I can mail some postcards. And it's like, okay, well, I've never done it, right? I do that regularly, and I would normally do that regularly, and I have been doing it regularly, and all the way through COVID, even till recently, my trip to Koh Samui, where the guy even said to me that it will go by plane. The postcards will go by plane. My postcards don't get there, and to my mom basically, and also to Miriam, right? Remember her when I was like I wanted to make sure that I, and sadly she probably passed away without seeing well, I know it didn't make it there, that's for sure. So that's kind of a drag. Anyway, so yeah, so I got to try that again. I had some postcards that I get from places that I go, and then about once every 2 weeks to a month I send, and eventually I'm quite certain. There will be a time when my mom gets one of these postcards, because that was just very normal, right? Oh my goodness, what's going on now? Oh, another. All right, well, let's see how long that takes to get in there. We'll make it 4 smoothies then. I don't know, because I mean, I obviously saw it there in this. Okay, so that's how long it takes. So there you go, yeah. Hashtag Cool Kids Tip. That looks kind of neat, right? I mean, it doesn't look horrible. It doesn't ruin our lives. It doesn't make our lives worse. So that was my thinking anyway. Anyway, so. Oh, good morning. You guys know who Cools is? Which is supposed to be curls, basically, meaning the curly hair. I think some of you guys remember who that is, right? Anyway, so she's watching from Hamandan, which is very, very good. Oh, and Mom's watching too. Magandang umaga. Wait, is it umaga right now? Or is it hapon? I can never remember. Wait, no, it's 8 a.m., right? Or 9 a.m. there. So it's umaga. So Magandang umaga. Gracie's sister. That's who that is. So they're probably at the shop, which makes sense. And One of the other questions that someone asked is, what do I miss from California? And at the risk of having a very odd, is it Magandano Maga? Okay. Thank you. Good to see you. At having a very odd short answer from Mike at one of the questions that you pose. I got this message yesterday. So I made the thumbnail and I was thinking about stuff, and what do I miss about California? Costco? No, not necessarily Costco. And this isn't just, I don't miss this about California. The thing I miss about the United States, probably the customer service online with things. I order things from Lazada, and they are obsessed with like sending you surveys and that sort of thing. But they don't do anything with the data. So if I give this guy like 1 star and be like, look, dude, what you sent me in the mail is broken. And then Lazada comes back and they're like, oh, okay, well, the person has like 7 days to get back to you. I'm like, that like Amazon would have given me my money back like literally less than an hour after I submit a bad review. If I'd been like, I want to return this right now, they would be like, oh, okay. And then I put it into a box and then I drive it down the street. So there's something to be said for like sort of the capitalistic e-commerce infrastructure that exists in the United States. That part I miss. But man, I mean, it's not like the roads are better in California. I miss my friends. I miss Bill, my mentor and sponsor. I don't miss the beaches. None of the beaches there, and I've been to many in California. I mean, the massive ones up in, meaning the distance between like where the sand and the water hit. And oh, Joe, thank you very much. I will. I actually just finished this one, so I'm ready for number 2. So I got to tell you, I'm not a big fan of the lack of instant gratification. I don't know about you guys, but because pretty much the rate, yeah, that's pretty good. So there you go. High five. Thank you, Joe. You're great, buddy. I will do that because there are some places that I go to. Usually they're in sort of, the bigger malls, right? And they'll have like protein powder. So I'll do that for sure. I'll go have a very healthy kale protein shake. And then I'll take that shake, Joe, and I'll go buy you some cigarettes. How's that? So I miss, the conveniences, but honestly, my life is not really any different. It's a little bit less convenient. That's about it. Not being back there. I grew up, and I think a lot of us in our teens, we get like really excited about cars, right? And so I was a car kid, and then I was a car guy, and I would restore cars, kind of. I mean, it wouldn't be like frame off, but I would buy cars that effectively weren't working as well, and then I would fix them up and then drive them and get some degree of enjoyment out of that. Example is, I buy like a BMW convertible for like a couple of $1,000s and, spend a little time working on it in the garage or in the driveway. And then, I would drive it around. I'm in Southern California. Driving around a convertible isn't unheard of. It's kind of neat, right? Oh, big up, Mr. Pinto. Big up, baby. And so I thought that it would be... I thought the novelty of not having a car over here, I thought that would wear off. I thought that after a while, I'd be like, okay, yeah. Like I know the BTS and MRT and ARL, and I like the trains here. That's really cool. And, taxis are cheap and Grab is everywhere and stuff. But I just kind of want to, I really wish I had my own car. That has not occurred. The only thing that's come up relative to automobiles is that I'm like, what I want to do? I want to rent a car outside and get out of Bangkok and then like just drive and just do like a road trip thing. But as I've mentioned before on a couple of things, there are when I'm like out exploring and I'm doing videos, there are scenarios where it's like, okay, I want to do this, and I'll make a video about it, and I'll share it with you, and then therefore that'll allow me to share it with my mom, and she can see where I'm at, she can see where Gracie and I are, and I'll do that by myself, and that's fine. And then there are some things that just are available to me, but I'm like, no, I'm not going to do this because I want to do this with Gracie. Like, I will wait until Gracie I get to get, because I mean, it's not like, oh my God, if I don't do this now, I'll never be. No. It's, you know, so we're waiting for Gracie for us to do that together. And the thing that just popped into my mind is the zip line, right? I'm like, I'm not going to do a zip line by myself I mean, if I didn't have someone in my life and it was just me living here, then yeah, I would do a zip line. I'm an only child. I'm way comfortable doing a ton of stuff by myself. And, but you know, I mean, that's one of those things where, again, she and I have also done it together before. And so I'm like, all right, well, this is what we do together. I will climb stairs, but without her, I won't count them. Because, although sometimes I still do, because of course I have OCD, right? So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, anything I do. I mean, you know what's funny is I do that regularly. Like I will be like, I could be walking down the sidewalk and there will be cones. And if there's like multiple cones in a row, then I'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know why, but I count them. I count things. And, it, you know, it doesn't ruin my life in any degree. So I'm like, yeah, so I'll just still do it. And of course, I'm not embarrassed about it. So I'll share with you guys. Share it with the internet. Joe says he was a motorcycle guy and still is. Yeah, I never got into that, but I totally get that. And I'm not quite sure whether it was you, Joe. And again, you know, Joe, thank you so much for your t-shirt, dude. That's really cool. I hope, because that is, you know, what you have there on your picture, but also that Dana sees it enough that it'll convince him to spend detention units elsewhere versus upgrading the Bangkok Strange logo. I think the Bangkok Strange logo is fine the way it is, but he seems to think an improvement is necessary. And, you know, at the end of the day, he's the host, right? I'm the co-host. So, what I did, actually, interestingly enough, for Live My Ass Off, I've been wanting to do this, and for some reason it just didn't. But the nice thing about really not doing anything this weekend is I had some other time. And so I went through the process of filling out, you know, or designing a job, basically a gig, and threw it up on Fiverr. And so I got a guy who's going to be working on a logo for me for Live My Ass Off. He's going to come with 2 examples, and I'll get to choose. And if I don't like it, then I'll just go to the next one. It's only, you know, a couple bucks. It's 42 with the fees. And you know, I've had great luck with guys making, I mean, the Boracay bag, if you guys don't know, Gracie and I did this thing, was basically those dry bags, effectively, right? It's like basically it's basically like a rubberized sock, and then at the top you just put it together, roll it over, clip it to itself, and then effectively it's waterproof, almost watertight. And so I thought, hey, let's make a brand of those and let's sell those. And so we made this thing called Boracay Bag, and I had this guy make a logo for us. And again, it was on Fiverr, it was on Upwork. I think it was on Fiverr, but it was very inexpensive. And, you know, again, the beauty of that is if they give me a logo that I don't like, and, you know, we go through a bunch of iterations, then it's just like, okay, well, then I'll just go with somebody else. I mean, this isn't working for some reason. You don't understand me, or I don't understand you. Because here's the thing. I'm very clear that I do not communicate well to people about design. I can communicate fairly well about, like, certainly about technology and data and fact and my experience and that sort of thing. But for some reason, when it comes to like sort of art and visual creativity, I don't have the ability to communicate well in that area. By that, I mean, I'm one of these guys that's like, I cannot tell you what I want my logo to look like. But if you give me one, there's a high likelihood I can tell you I don't like it. Like, in other words, I don't know what I want, but when I see it, I'll let you know, kind of thing. And that's very difficult. I know that makes me very difficult. And it's hard because, you know, again, I don't have the brain of creativity in that way. I can't, you know, draw or doodle even, you know, and so anyway, so I threw that up there on Fiverr. So that'll be kind of cool, to the whole logo thing. Because I haven't decided, but I mean, enough of you have sort of intimated that you might be interested in t-shirts of some kind. Now, I know a lot of that is just tongue-in-cheek, like I'll say something cute and you'll be like, oh yeah, that's a bumper sticker or a t-shirt, right? So I get that. But there's also been like parts of me that are like, you know what I would really like to be wearing right now? My own t-shirt. Like I would really like to be, which is kind of why I had Dana and Jib's friend, Earth, make me that crazy-ass shirt, right? And I got another one that's coming too. Because it's just, it's my shirt, right? I mean, it's just for me, it's just really neat. But it'd be really cool to be able to have a t-shirt that says, live my ass off, or, live the dream if you're not doing anything wrong. And, or I don't know, I haven't decided what I want to do there. And Todd, you taking off? Okay, right on, buddy. Take a walk to the hospital to pass a test. That's great. And again, Todd, thank you so much for all the videos you've been uploading. I think it's important to the guys. And I know it's very entertaining to me. So that was really cool. Cody says, I fully expect to miss my Tundra when I move over there, but I'm able to accept it. Yeah, I mean, again, if you're a truck guy and you also have been using the Tundra for things like, off-roading, or if you use it for work and that's really, a satisfying kind of thing, I will tell you, dude, there's a ton of trucks over here and many of them have the snorkel. And, they're lifted and they have like really impressive suspension. I mean, not ridiculous, like, monster truck, but like stuff you could like drive. And so anyway, you couldn't necessarily get a Tundra. I don't believe that they have that model here. I'm trying to think the model of Toyota that I've seen over here. Toyotas are expensive over here, or the big, lifted trucks kind of thing. Certain models are expensive. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say all Toyotas are expensive. Rockman says, hey, all, enjoyed my first day in Bogota. Masks everywhere, some temp taking, some disinfectant, sole cleaning, got it, when you're entering stores. COVID PCR testing has become easier, only about 1/2 in the nose, and now they have a spit test. Was easy. Hope other places open up and get back to something normal. Oh, Rockman, that's so cool, dude. I'm stoked that you're in Bogota. That's so rad. Good for you. I hope you're enjoying yourself, man. I mean, it sounds like you are, but I mean, for long term, that's really, really cool. Bogota can be a fun place. Not sure how it is now. I get the first t-shirt, please. Yeah. Well, believe me, you'll know. Fairly quiet, not a lot of partying going on. Some shops open, lots are still closed. Yeah. But is it like closed like it's weird? Like, in other words, all the shops that are closed, in the level of closed that is happening, like in Pattaya or down in certainly Patong Beach, but also other parts of Phuket, but not all parts of Phuket. I mean, there's some parts of Phuket that I'm like, oh, this is like totally cool. It's normal. It's a Thai village. Same with Koh Phangan. There were like some places that I would drive through and there would be actually a lot of expats, but they would all be having coffee and they'd be on their laptops and they'd be doing stuff. And, there would be like parking out front of motorbikes, and a lot of times that would be completely filled and there wasn't an empty spot. So that would occur. But then, you go to, oh God, I forgot the name of the Full Moon Party Beach, right? And that's just completely dead, empty, weird. So I guess my question is the whole level of closed that Bogota is at, or that places you've gone in Bogota, is it like eerie closed? Because there's some places here that in Thailand that definitely qualify for that. Oh, did I get the November t-shirt yet? No, I haven't. He redid the buttons on my September shirt. The one that I do have is the October shirt. And then so he took back the September shirt and he's got that. But he said he will have the November shirt by the, wait a minute. My God, ladies and gentlemen, Eddie Fisher. Ding, 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 ding. Winner, chicken dinner. What a good buddy of mine. I've known Eddie for years. And so the, I don't know, Hilux. That's right. Yeah, the Toyota Hilux. But I don't know, is that sort of the Tundra? A Hilux is a little bit smaller, right? Isn't the Tundra pretty large? No, I don't know. Rockman says, seems like like Pattaya malls were open, some shops closed, but bigger stuff open. Traffic is quite a bit less than normal in Bogota. Yeah, I'll bet. Yeah. I mean, the mall was open, the Central Festival, right? Mike Shopping Mall was open. I'm sorry. No, Mike's Shopping Mall was closed when I was there the last time. The Hilux, I know they have. Land Cruiser, I'm not sure they have that version. I don't know. I haven't certainly looked for one. I mean, there's a Toyota dealer right down the street, actually, and then a Nissan dealer, and then there's a Honda dealer. I mean, they're all on Sukhumvit, right? You know what, Joe? That's a great point, because thank you for saying hi to my buddy Eddie. If he's watching on YouTube, then of course he can see the chat. But the interesting thing is, while the thing that I have right now, the bot that I'm using right now, it will ingest from all of the other platforms that I'm streaming at. I don't believe that it sends it back. So that's the downside, is it can't post back. So he can't necessarily see that on Facebook. But if he's watching the video, then of course that's the other reason that I display the comments over there. So that depending upon, regardless of the platform you're watching on, you can see kind of like what we're sort of all talking about. The Tundra is completely not viable for Thailand. Way too large. Yeah. Okay. That's what I figured. I'm trying to think, like, one of the bigger trucks I've seen. I think probably Toyota is the one that makes it. I don't know. Ford makes a pretty big truck. Well, sorry. Ford makes a truck that people make big. So they like lift it and they put, like the roll bar or whatever. I do see some lights, like some off-road lights, but interestingly enough, I see the snorkel a lot. I see people doing that. And for all I know, it's not even aftermarket. For all I know, you can get that at the factory. Who knows? Hilux is a 4Runner in America. Thank you, Stuck. Got it. And the 4Runner is that's the one where it's basically like it's like a 4-wheel drive SUV essentially, right? I mean, the whole body is, whereas the you sure did, because I could have sworn God, that's horrible. I just forgot her name. Malie, that she had a Toyota pickup truck and it was like Hilux. I thought Hilux was like a model, like a version kind of thing. But in any case, I don't doubt you. But for some reason, I was just thinking, like, wait a second, wasn't that also called Hilux? I don't know. I think the guys are done cleaning they're probably cleaning the pool. Done cleaning the pool, rather. I kind of want to check that out. So you see, this is the broadcast studio we got going on here. Is all of that stuff right there? Yeah, see, pretty high tech, right? Pretty high tech that I can like move my finger through the bushes. I wanted to do. I have it actually. You can't see it. Kind of, see the soft box right behind the soft box. It's like right over there. There is my kitchen table, and I bought like an office chair for over there. And sometimes it's a little bit more comfortable to sit there. But for the most part, I like it here because that way, right, is that. So I'm looking out sort of at that with Pigeon Cam, and then there's the other one there. So, oh, you know what? Do I have a motorcycle license? I do, Joe. I actually, when I got my licenses, I got both. And again, proactively I didn't just like drop everything in California and move over here. Like I think it was August, maybe September, I took the motorcycle training class in California so that I could, and if I did pass, which I did gratefully, and I learned a lot too. I was so grateful I took it because I'm not a motorbike guy. Like I didn't grow up on them kind of thing. So I'm like, okay, I have a safety issue. But the goal was to get the M on my California driver's license so that when I brought that over here, along with my international driving permit, that basically together, those would allow me to drive a motorbike legally. And luckily, when I brought that license with the M and explained it to the woman at the land transport down in Phetchaburi, i.e. Cha Am, they issued me a motorbike license. So I don't... It is pretty comfortable, Cody. Yeah, I kind of like just like chilling out. It's not the most comfortable couch in the world, but again, it certainly doesn't feel like work, right? So that's kind of the nice thing. Yeah, it's funny. Those chairs, they came with the kitchen table, and normally you get like 4 chairs, right? But whatever, it only came with 3, which was fine because then I have the ability to I have the office chair over at the kitchen table, and that's that makes it kind of nice. Was really grateful that this place was furnished. I still have bought, I bought infinitely more stuff than I ever thought I would. I came over here with 3 pieces of luggage, meaning I came over to Thailand, moved my life to Thailand with 3 pieces of luggage, and I have infinitely more than 3 pieces of luggage. I mean, just like the gear that you see, in this shot, right? I mean, it's just just like the microphone, the boom. I got 2 soft boxes. Obviously, my laptop's a little bit heavier, but I do have that bitchin' Thai broom. I really love those things. Those things are really cool. Yeah, I've got a lot more than that now, but it's okay. It's all right. I'll figure out how to cruise around. But what I wanted to show you here is I got a couple of other webcams. So this one right now. So like, if you guys remember, I did that one stream. I was all the way down the end of this beach here. And so, actually, hold on. I'm going to check out one thing. Okay, cool. If I do this, then it won't lose but like, I was all the way down the end of this. And basically behind where my head is. I was essentially sitting where my head is on the screen here, and did a live stream from down there, if you guys remember that. So that's over at Crystal Bay Yacht Club. And then there's another live cam that I found from Samui, which is the other end of it. So previous to this shot, I was basically all the way down at the end of the beach, all the way down there, right, all the way at the end. But the neat thing, so this is the other end of the beach, and this thing basically pans back and forth all day, all night. And so at night, obviously, the quality of the video of the sand isn't that great, but you will see like fishing boats out there, which is like really cool and stuff. So yeah, so I like these sort of things. Is that the yeah? And so there's a couple of them, Cody. This one is, there's another one, and then there's like ones of downtown. I was looking at one this morning I just came across, and I think it was it's Cosmo Webcam. Let me see here. Oh, I don't have it up anymore, but yeah, that was cool. Well, the other reason I really like it is, of course, it's not just Koh Samui, it's Crystal Bay, and so I actually stayed there. It wasn't a beach that I wasn't at, so that was neat. And it brings back great memories. That was an awesome place. I was stoked that I got to stay there. Their cameras keep me saying, dude, I am so in agreement with that. You guys keep me sane, but these cameras keep me sane. I wish my TV was a little bit newer. It doesn't take that much effort to get YouTube to display on my TV, but it's not a super smart TV in the sense that it's got the apps running in it, right? But sometimes I like to bring these things. Oh, because hold on, I believe it's either this one or the other one. Let me check. One of these has, yeah, it does. Okay, so that's there. Let me see here. Is it this one? No, it's this one, I think. Let me go back to this one. Could have sworn. My point is, I'm trying to find audio. One of these has I thought this one had it. Let me see here. Yeah, I think this one has it. Can't remember. I think that's got... Yeah, I think it's got a little bit in the background. I don't think it's got a whole lot, though. The one from Florida has a lot of sound. Pardon me. But right now it's nighttime in Florida. And so if you guys are curious, I mean, because I know obviously stuck in Florida, Dania Pier Beach is the one I have, and then Deerfield Beach that I have from Florida. But again, oops, those are, it's like, well, so here's Deerfield Beach, which I really like. But of course, this one has really, really nice background noise. But yeah, it's not a whole lot of it. So anyway. So yeah, the infamous Sanity. I'll tell you what, I'll do the panning one. How's that? There you go. So we can watch this one. Cody. I think I have the same white chair on my porch. Love it. I'm sitting on it right now. Nice job, Joe. Good for you, buddy. Hey, Asian Scripted. Good to see you, Jason. How you doing, man? Glad you came by. Did I invest in Bitcoin? The short answer is yes. I invested in Bitcoin. I invested in altcoins. I've gone back and forth. Pretty much everything right now I have is just, I think everything I have now is in Bitcoin. I don't think it's in, and again, it's not much. It's not even one Bitcoin. But yeah. And again, I should have just, I should have done it years ago. I'll tell you right now, the biggest, and so where that thing just zoomed in all the way to the end there, and it does it automatically, by the way. I wish I could control it. But that's where I did a live stream when I was down there, all the way to the end where it just zoomed in. So that was kind of fun. But I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I can't remember whether there was ones that had audio in it or something like that, but that was a great place. I liked Samui then, and I'm trying to think the name of the beach that's right south. I mean, I could Google it, obviously, and I will. The beach that is south of Samui Pier, Don Sak. I'm trying to remember the name of that because that was a really Lipa Noi. I stayed there, man, and it was, boy, oh boy, was it vacant. It was great. Yeah, Lipa Bay Resort and Lipa Beach, Lipa Noi. That was really, really cool. And let's see how far it is. That's about 1, 2, 3, 4. It's about 6 kilometers south of the Natan Pier. Did I say Don Sak? I'm sorry. That's the other end. It's the Suratan east side. But yeah, I dug Samui, and it was really cool. It had a lot to offer me. But I will tell you, like, even with the situation of the COVID, lockdown for everything or whatever, and of course the lack of foreign tourism there were still places where it was busy. I mean, the big Thai neighborhoods where they had these great markets and that sort of thing, and even, Big C, where there weren't a whole lot of foreigners. I got some sneakers when I was there, actually. And there was traffic. There was some traffic in places, and I was like, oh man, because I mean, look, Samui is really, really built up in many areas. But again, so is Phuket. But I had a great time when I was down in Phuket recently because it had very few people where I was going, and so I was able to go to beaches and go for long walks on beaches where I didn't have to share with anybody, right? So that was like really, really cool. Let me get rid of that. Tell you what, I'm going to grab, what time we got? Oh, it's 8:44. That's cool. I actually may end early. I may only go like 2 or 3 hours today. I haven't decided. I haven't gone 2 hours yet, but anyway, I'll be right back. I got to grab something to drink, and I will do this so that you guys can just hang out and watch the beach. How's that? Be right back. Greetings and aloha. Thank you guys for sticking around. I really appreciate that. Let's get back to some chatting. Rupert bought a new PC in 2015 for 15 Bitcoin. Oh my God. Really, buddy? Woo. What's that, $300,000 today? But yeah, I get it. Had I bought Bitcoin in 2009 instead of purchasing my commercial property in 2007, I would be a billionaire. Yeah, it's a major regret, dude. I'll tell you, that's I don't. Yeah, I have what I you know, again, I was introduced to Bitcoin by one of the students that was working in the tech support center, and when he introduced it to me, it was like $1 to one Bitcoin, right? So I probably should have bought $100 worth and been like, okay, well, whatever. What's the worst thing that can happen? I lose $100, or because let's see, in 2018 January, is that when it really peaked? That would have been worth $2 million. Joe's thinking about a condo or a house in Pattaya. Well, good for you, dude. I mean, again, it's it's not like an unpopular place. My God, and there's obviously a lot to do in Pattaya. There's a lot to do that everyone would say, oh yeah, I know what you do in Pattaya or whatever. But there's also a lot to do that doesn't involve doing that in Pattaya. I mean, it's a big city, dude. I mean, the minute you get off the beach, there's a lot to do. And make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, look at that, 28 people. 28 thumbs up and 28 million watching in the Philippines. Yeah, see, Joe, you get it, don't you? Mark asks, what's the new Bitcoin or Google, in your opinion, to invest in? Virgin Galactic is what I think will be the new one of those. If I could invest in SpaceX, I would also buy that. But they're not public. So there's a couple other ones that I was looking at that I'm actually, let's see, what time is it now? So it's 9 a.m. here. Yeah. So let's see. How does it work? I think it's 6 p.m. here tonight, is pre-market in the U.S. And I think I have some buys set up for two electric vehicle companies. It's basically the standard, the takeover, right, that occurs. Like there's a shell company that just sits there for years, and they do effectively nothing. And it allows companies to like IPO quickly is the short answer, right? So they basically doing like they call it a reverse merger, but arguably it's just a merger. And so the company that does nothing basically assumes the company that is going to go IPO. And so there's two electric truck companies. Hey, Bob, good to see you, man. Glad you're here. There's two electric truck companies that I'm investing in, and I'm starting that. So that'll start. Well, I have it set to go at market open, but I think I'm probably going to hop on tonight. I can't, I literally have it in my calendar every single night because I cannot remember when it starts. Yeah, 6 p.m. Bangkok is pre-market because it's 6 p to 8:30. 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. here. And so 7 a.m. to 8:30. Well, again, pre-market pretty much goes to like 8:59, I think. Yeah, so I'm looking at those. That'll be sort of interesting. It's I still have about 25% cash. I don't know. There's a part of me that's thinking of rolling everything into cash right now and just wait, see what happens after the election. But again, you could say, well, yeah, it's going to go up after the election. Well, right, but that means you would want to have invested before the election, right? My experience with when the last presidential election occurred is the stocks that I had went up in value after the inaugural address in January, not after the election. So anyway, but I'm 40. What am I? I'm 20. I think I'm 26% foreign stocks, meaning non-US, right? But I mean, it's obviously the transactions occur on the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange. But yeah. I don't know about the next Bitcoin. I mean, if you mean like the next ridiculous thing that doesn't really have any sort of tangible value that people put value on, I don't really know what that'll be. Again, I'm a big fan of the technology, the back end technology of altcoins, but I mean, Bitcoin is, again, it's the original, right? It's the Yahoo of the cryptocurrency space. But Mango's a federal holiday, Columbus Day. I believe the market is closed. Thank you very much. I forgot about that. Oh, that would mean normally there would be the Boston Marathon. So therefore, I'm guessing they're not going to have that. I start looking around 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, that's right. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Oh, well, hold on. How come I don't have that in my... Do I have holidays? Usually, I think I have U.S. holidays in my... let's see. I could have sworn I had... Nope. Regional holidays. There we go. Holidays in... I thought I had Thailand in there, but I guess I don't have... Let me just throw the U.S. in there because I'm curious. Oh, no, I do have holidays in Thailand up there. Let me see. Holidays in the United States. Check. Okay, cool. So now, do I have to save? I can't remember what you do. No, you just arrow back. All right, awesome. And then settings. And, so Monday is Columbus Day. Oh, wow. Tuesday is the anniversary of the death of King Bhumibol. Yeah, so so that means Monday and Tuesday here in Thailand are definitely going to be holidays. Okay, so that's how they did this long weekend. I thought they did the weekend Friday through Monday, but they're probably going Friday through Tuesday. So, okay, that's cool. Well, that means I will not get my I'll probably get my new visa on Thursday. So that'll be cool. We got our Bangkok Strange live stream tomorrow at 9 a.m. And then we're doing an interview that will drop like a week later. Oh, I don't know if you guys see this guy. He's very popular and is growing like crazy. He's a really great guy, Chris. Retired Working for You. You've probably seen or heard of that YouTube channel if you're part of this sort of club. So Dana reached out to him and he came over to the studio, and so we did an interview with him, and so that was kind of cool. So if you watched Retired Working for You's most recent video when he talks about 25,000 subscribers and he does this sort of very funny video, he's a great video producer, and so it was very entertaining. And so one of the shots that he had is a spoof on basically being asked to be part of a podcast, and he thought, we were Joe Rogan. So he takes a little shot of the studio where Dana and I were interviewing him. So that'll drop next week. That's really cool. Chris is a great guy. I love collaborating with guys like that and hearing like kind of their story and that sort of thing. He's Canadian. And so that was really cool. He too, like you guys, he couldn't understand that, I didn't know of the French fries drizzled with gravy and all that stuff. I can't remember what that's called, like Putin or something like this. I still had never heard of that Canadian food. So yeah, he is very energetic, wouldn't you say? Absolutely. I lost on Nikola, at least so far. Oh yeah, but that's got to be a long-term bet, right, MedTech? I mean, one could argue that, Tesla was a short-term thing, and I don't know where they're going to go. Sorry, what I'm talking about is the price of their stock. I think that company is going to be around for a long time, and they're going to have some huge wins, especially with their trucks. Their trucks are just phenomenal. But again, they're not the only trucks out there. And the reason that I'm investing in these two electric truck companies is they're not the long haul 18-wheel, kind of trucker deals. That Tesla and this other company are making. Actually, there's a company out of Carlsbad, California, just north of San Diego, that makes trucks. Autonomous driving trucks. And so those would be interesting. But yeah, Nikola, I don't know, man. I mean, I think that I don't know really. I mean, let's face it. It's not like they have market share like Tesla does, right? But it's definitely an interesting time to watch these ones compete with themselves, right? Or amongst themselves, and they all have varying sort of, degrees of technology. There was that Fisker, right? And I guess that got sold, that technology, that IP or that company or whatever, those cars got sold to somebody. And then Fisker came back and he's got a new car company that he's also calling Fisker because the other name went away. I don't know. It's really interesting, right? I mean, it's a great time to be alive, as is said, right? And I believe that that's the case because all the AI and the ML that's coming out right now, not the least of which is the awesome technology that's available in the GoPro Hero 9, which I cannot buy. I'm amazed at GoPro. I mean, now their stock did go up. I mean, it was at 4 and it's around 6 now. And if I'm GoPro, I mean, in my mind, I don't know a whole lot about the company or the culture or that sort of thing. I mean, they seem to have a pretty, young type culture that they have over there. My buddy that works there, they seem to be pretty flexible and pretty energetic, pretty entrepreneurial. But I mean, considering the technology they have in this 9, I'm like, man, you guys need to license that technology to like Olympus and Nikon and and Canon, because I mean the ability to like have the gimbals are no longer necessary once you have this technology, right? I mean, that's just phenomenal. It's really, really impressive. Bob, take a look at Tyler Technologies or Corteva. Stand by. Let me write those down. Tyler, what do they do? Cool. Wrote it down. Gonna research it later. I'm in the mood for a bagel. I've been in the mood for bagels since I had my first bagel I had in probably 2 years in Copenhagen. I was down there and they had this because I mean, look, it's known for its like party beaches, right? But or their full moon parties is basically what it's known for. But it's also known for like its yoga and the retreats and the people that are, arguably a little bit hippie-like, for sort of the modern hippie. And so because of that, there's a lot of sort of Western coffee shops, right, that charge, like 200 baht for a coffee. And I think my bagels with cream cheese were like 100 baht or something like that. So, I mean, not free, but all your investments are long term. Oh yeah. So you're good then. So that's pretty good. It'll be interesting to see like where Nikola goes. I mean, you could argue that there's going to be so many of these electric vehicle type companies that, some may get bought. Some will certainly, not be able to have great technology, but they won't necessarily have good leadership. And so therefore, they'll go belly up. But I'm trying to think when I bought recently. I think I bought some stuff on Thursday. I saw Richard, he in the sense that he like commented on one of my videos a while ago, but I guess for some reason he didn't feel like enough people were watching his videos. And so therefore, I guess that meant he lost interest in it. At least that's what I believe I took away from the comment he made. Something like, oh yeah, I didn't do videos anymore. No one really cared, kind of thing or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't think I ever gave you the impression that I didn't care. And I like to think that us at the Cool Kids table were pretty damn welcoming to him when he came over, as well as encouraging, And so I'm kind of bummed that he stopped doing his thing. His videos were interesting. I mean, when he started producing them, like with like little, sounds and things, and I thought that was, kind of ridiculous. And it took away from quite frankly, the validity of the data that he was providing. But, everyone does their own thing. You could argue, oh my God, Mike, I mean, your videos were great up until the day that you had the silly camera in the background, panning back and forth and back and forth. Nikola lost a major court case to Tesla. Nikola may not survive. Exactly. And, look at Tesla is a public company. And so therefore the board and their legal team there is a division of that organization, and all their job is to do is to protect the intellectual property of that organization. And what that means is they find companies that are doing anything like they are that they potentially stole from them, and they could have, and they make sure that they don't do that, So I mean, I understand that. They do agriculture, huh? Yeah, I don't really have I don't really invest in biotech. I certainly don't invest in like retail. That's a tough one for me. I'm pretty much a technology guy because one of the greatest statements I ever heard, I think I heard it from like Motley Fool or something years ago, which was invest like an owner, And so my little twist on that is, invest like an owner, not like a gambler. And I like that way a lot better. So that's kind of how the way that I do it. Oh, True Digital Park's probably got an event today. That'll be kind of cool. Really? No, that doesn't make any sense. It's a major holiday, isn't it? What's happening the 12th of October through the 18th? Okay, well, that's all right. They're giving me some data. So cool. I'll check that out too. When my wife and I were able to get there, let's team up and start a Thailand Shark Tank. Dude, that would be amazing. Mango, big time, dude. Big time, big time, big time. And here's why I say that. So True Digital Park, it's right down the street from my house, and they have big co-working space, and they sell themselves basically as the largest startup incubation community, that sort of thing, right? And there is a WeWork in there. It's just closed because they have no business. But the entire 5th floor, actually. And then the 6th floor and the 7th floor are basically the True Digital Park type of co-working space and innovation, and that sort of thing. Well, they have conference rooms, right? Well, to drum up some business, what they're doing is every Thursday night, if you essentially bring them an idea that is not for profit, then you can get a conference room for free. Now, the internet over there is incredibly fast. Like the free Wi-Fi over there is like 250 down, 175 up. I mean, it's just it's basically solid glass to the internet. And so what Dana and I want to do is we want to do exactly that. Not necessarily with a Shark Tank, but I like that idea. But what we want to do is we want to have a meeting in there that is a live stream. We want to do a live stream with either Bangkok Strange or with Live My Ass Off or something like that. I'm quite certain we'll get a lot more traction with Bangkok Strange than we would Live My Ass Off. A lot of people are like, oh my God, the name is whatever. Yeah, Richard Garnash, he just lost interest. And what we're trying to do is we're basically trying to put together sort of a presentation, because you can go to the website where the calendar and you say, okay, I'd like to reserve this time, because I think there's 2 rooms every Thursday, and I think it's like 6 p.m. to 9:30, and it's free. And normally it would be like, I don't know, $500-600 baht, so you're saving like $20 or $30. But the bottom line is that, it would be really neat if we could provide something from a Bangkok Strange perspective. And I think it would be a lot better actually if there was 2 of us. And so to do that and then maybe expand on that. Yeah, absolutely, Joe. It would be really, really cool. And so it would be neat if we could get some traction on that. And then when you get over here, Mango, we could definitely kind of transition that into a Thailand Shark Tank kind of thing. That'd be very fun. The startup ecosystem over here is, again, you could say it's smaller everywhere, right? But it really is much smaller than when I first started studying it, let's just say. Because when I first got over here, and was looking into that. So that was about 2016, and I got a grant from the university to check that out. It's really dark on this side of my face, and I've literally got a softbox going right at me. So I don't know why. Maybe I need to move it over a little bit and get this side of my face. But for the most part, I'm pretty cool, actually. I think I'm going to go for about another 30 minutes because I'm starting to feel like a little bit tired. So arguably, that is because I haven't had any caffeine. I'm trying to stay away from the 3-in-1s because, of course, there's a lot of sugar in those. And so I've been just doing the protein shakes. These things that I drink, obviously, it's sugar water, right? So it's not like I'm completely doing that, but I'm really, really trying to limit the amount of certainly processed sugar that I'm intaking. So yeah, mango, I think it'll be really cool, right? I think it should be fun. It's something that I would potentially just want to do one time, but more likely I would really prefer for us to, and that's why we haven't just like done it like this Thursday, because I mentioned it to Dana and I said, all right, but let's like plan something to the point where if it has any traction, which arguably it will, let's make sure we can do it a month later. Let's make sure we can do it once a month, I mean, and believe me, Thursday evenings, again, that's not when I particularly wanted to do it, but it is down the street, and there is a reason why I moved to this part of Bangkok, because it is next to True Digital Park and sort of the startup community, or at least more of a startup community. There's other portions of Bangkok, of course, that have startup communities in them, and startups for that matter. But it was pretty exciting to be over there. I like the energy. It's not awesome. It's not Silicon Valley, for God's sake. I mean, I don't feel like I've just landed in San Jose and I'm walking, down. So it's not necessarily that, but it's pretty good, man. I dig the energy sometimes. It's there's like a mall there basically, and really it's more of like a giant food court. In other words, there's like where you can like the little hawker stalls. They're very nice, of course. They're brand new. But there's also like there's Western restaurants that are there. I mean, there's KFC, there's McDonald's, and there's all that. And then there's the Yoshinaya, so you'll see like the chain places, and then there's local places too that have it, that have opened. Some of them has since closed. Wok Station is one that I really like. WOK. It's got kind of like an orange logo. I really like their food, the way they cook it, and it's inexpensive. It's like $2 or $3 for like a bowl of something that tastes quite good, and they make it right there. Fresh ingredients, fresh vegetables, and but they're closed. They've been closed now for maybe a month. And I was going to them, a couple months ago. And so, because in other words, once True Digital Park opened back up, I'm like, oh, cool. I'll cruise over there and I'll go to some, places. And nope. They've since closed. And that's pretty good. Oh, Todd just sent me I see. He just uploaded a video, actually. He's number 66 in line to get his test, I guess. So it is a shame that Richard lost interest. But again, I lose interest too sometimes, right? But I will tell you that I missed doing this big time. I miss interacting with you guys. If you don't know what I do, like when you guys super chat me, is at the end of the broadcast, I send Gracie a message and let her know how much money we have now. Honey, we have $10 more. She's like, that's so cool. Because it is, right? Anyway, little wins, guys. I'm a big fan of the little wins. And the Streamlabs thing, the Streamlabs alert thing, that worked out kind of cool. I was really happy about that. What's going on with Pigeon Cam outside? Because I just noticed it's getting kind of sunny. The sun is out, and all that wood there that you can see, like right, kind of here, right? I mean, where it goes down here. How do you? Yeah. That's all dry, so that means the rain from this morning is kind of gone away. Let's see. What about over here? Yeah, I like the way that this chat displays. The problem is that it only does YouTube. So that's a real bummer. So, and then of course I go away, which one could argue? Well, yes, Mike, that's the point. Ooh. Oh, Nikola unsuccessfully sued Tesla. Oh, what a drag, man. That hurts. Whoops. When I retire in Thailand in 8 years, I will completely stop working. No more technology work for me. Good for you, Jorgen. That's good, man. I mean, I completely can totally appreciate that. It's something that I do. It's part of me. So Pigeon Cam and Shorty Shorts Cam. Oh yeah, I guess these are you know what's funny about these shorts? If so what I miss about California, I miss like the ridiculously cheap cost of like things that I can buy at Walmart. Like I think these shorts were like $3. You know, I mean you cannot manufacture these for $3. It's impossible. And so I just I throw these around when I'm cruising around the condo. So, but for the most part, I like the over the knee kind of. Thank you, Joe. I really appreciate it. Yeah, they are quite nice. Aaron, good to see you. Hello. Glad you're here, my friend. I'm glad you want to be a part of it, Joe. You can be. We'll even have ashtrays inside for your luckies. I'm trying to think about the other sort of, like what is really, I mean, there isn't a whole lot like super new in my life, right? I mean, again, I mean, yes, the career didn't really end, but I was about to say the career ended. The job ended for sure. And the living in Southern California ended, so those were big deals. But again, it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to LAX for the first time and I'm never, and then I'm going to fly to Thailand. I mean, that was, I had gone to Bangkok for 4-day long weekends before. And because I just loved it and missed it so much. But so that wasn't, really sort of new behavior. And again, it was something that we were planning for a while. So I'm trying to think if there's any, because let me go back to that comment thing and I want to see what the gentleman said. RM, I believe, was the comment. I think. Let me see. I don't need to go that. I need to go to the videos. But it was a really interesting comment because I was like, yeah, it's good to sort of reflect back, and again, I think I did that a little bit when I was, trying to be at least mildly self-aware, but I'm imperfect at that as well. Maybe it was from the one when I was at Lumpini Park? Did it meet your expectations? How do you avoid boredom? Okay, so let me talk about those. So I rarely get bored. I remember years and years and years and years and years ago hearing people on Mondays come in and be like, you tell, hey, so what'd you do this past weekend? And they're like, not really. I was like really bored. I didn't have anything to do. I'm like, what? That's never occurred in my life ever. I've always had something to do. Something ideally that I like to do, but I've always had something to do. And so that was weird. And so I can't remember the last time I was bored. I always sort of work on something. Like in other words, if there's not, I don't know, let's say for the sake of argument, anything cool on TV, which, there's always a documentary that is of interest to me that I can watch if I'm not like, watching a TV show. A lot of the time then I watch Netflix. I'm just simply like sitting here, right? Like kind of in this position on the couch and just simply watching, a Netflix TV series, that sort of thing. Because it's mindless, right? It is 100%. It's a monologue. I don't have to think. I don't have to produce anything. I just kind of, that dark spot is bugging me though. Hold on. Let me move my softbox. Problem is, it's like a battle between sort of natural light, which is out there, and then this. Hold on. Kinda, a little better. Anyway, not a big deal, but I mean, I bought it, right? So I should probably use it. Yeah, good question, Joe. Do I work out? You do it to clear your head. I used to run regularly, and that definitely cleared my head. That was kind of cool. So the short answer is no, I don't work out. I do like walking, and I haven't done that in a while. It's one of those things that I love doing it early in the morning. Like, I love being able to get out. But once it's about 9 or 9:30, that sun here in Thailand, that can get pretty intense. So usually by that time, I'll want to be somewhere where there's like shade. So, if I want to like go for like a long walk or something like that, I'll sometimes walk, from occasionally, I'll take the BTS on certain portions of it, but there's been times where I've effectively walked almost all the way to Lumpini Park. And, like get off at Chitlom and like walk down, to the northern part or something. But, a lot of times when I'm meeting my buddies in Ekamai, then, I'll come on Ekamai instead of getting on the Ekamai BTS. I'll like walk all the way down, past the malls and stuff. And then, from there, keep walking down Sukhumvit. As long as there's a little bit of shade, it's really not too bad. And so that helps me sort of clear my head, if you will, and I like doing that. What's the best thing in my life? Oh boy. Well, my sobriety is like, because without that, I got nothing. So therefore, that kind of transitions into my health and everything. But the best thing is, the best thing in life the best things in life aren't things, right? God, having Gracie in my life is just such a huge benefit. The ability to have, to make plans, at least. I think that's another thing probably that keeps me positive is it's like, okay, yes, we're not together at this very moment, but I mean, we have plans. Like there is future. There is, Joe says, I know you like to walk. It's a white guy thing. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I love how we have the inside jokes that also include Gracie, which is cool here at the Cool Kids table. But yeah, I'm white guy, so therefore he likes to walk. Yeah, white people like to walk. Because Filipinos don't. They like to take what do they call them? I almost said songtaos. Jeepneys. Yeah, they like to take jeepneys or trikes because they can actually fit in them. I don't have the ability to do that. And I'll tell you, man, some of these songtaos, like when I cruise over to Dana's house, man, I always get into the smaller one just simply because it leaves faster. The bigger one that has like, that has headroom and I can actually stand in the back. This one I got to like crouch down and so that's kind of a tough thing. I love how much you appreciate things. It really brings my mood up. Oh, well, shoot, thanks, man. I kind of wondered about that, Cody. I'm like, okay, I'm going to start this live stream. I'm not in the best mood ever, so hopefully these guys won't be like, yeah, Mike, I'm going to need you to come back on Saturday. Yeah, that'd be great. Because, I'm not sick, but I did pick up something foreign, probably, on last Saturday. Something entered my body that was like, okay, we're gonna need to produce some white blood cells. So we got this. So if we heat up, don't worry about it. We got this. It's kind of like when the CPU in my laptop is like, we're gonna do something really, really awesome, but we're gonna make noise because this fan's gonna come on because we're gonna need some heat. Sorry, we're gonna generate some heat. So this CPU does the same thing. Welcome to the Cool Kids table, to Cody. All right. So I think to avoid boredom, I pretty much just do me. In other words, I wake up in the morning. God, I wake up in the morning and I'm not always incredibly grateful, but I'm always grateful. Like I'm always minimally grateful. And it's a pretty good way to start a day, right? I mean, it's sad. I don't know whether they just say it to be funny or to be cool or whatever, but I had friends that'd be like, oh, no, dude, I can't, until I have my coffee, and I'm like, dude, long before my coffee, I am like, I am the luckiest guy in the world right now. Not the least of which is because I get to go get coffee. I get to get coffee. Oh, Teacher Thomas, Thailand. Hey, good to see you, man. Good morning from Rayong to you as well. God, I love your videos, and I don't allocate the time to watch them, I guess, really, is the deal, which sucks because they're great. I haven't watched one of Rike's videos in a long time, too. In fact, I think I talked with him on Facebook Messenger. He and I had a really long conversation, probably, 4 days ago. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, it's so cool. He's a good friend. It's great to have him in my life and that sort of thing. And then I was like, man, but I haven't watched one of his videos in forever. Life just happens, right? So it seems like all successful people have a positive attitude. I guess it depends how you measure success. I can tell you that I know wealthy people that a lot of people on the outside would label them as successful. And they are les miserables, amigo. They are not happy. But the good news is I will tell you that the majority of the CEOs I've met, the majority of the entrepreneurs I've met, entrepreneurs are arguably really have a positive attitude, but not real successful. They're successful in doing what they want to do, but I missed something. I'm sorry. What was the 3 reference? Stuck says, I've got to go get tested tomorrow. 3 people in my family tested positive, and we were all together about 2 weeks ago. Oh, my goodness. Wow. Well, I hope everything goes okay, Stuck, in the sense that if you get tested, you're not going to have to undergo any sort of serious treatment. I assume you don't have any symptoms right now, and you're not feeling bad. So wow, yeah, definitely let us know how that goes, my friend. Joe asks, Mike, did you go to Cowboy and pick up something? Yes, spicy sausage. I picked up the Aztec 1000. I have some spicy cowboy sausage. It seems like Teacher Simon Silence is doing good, but been under the weather lately. Yeah, I had something too, dude. I don't know. I got something on Saturday, and with the way the weather was up here in Bangkok, I was just like, okay, so like it's, overcast and raining on and off today. And some of it was just like drizzle. And then it was like a little bit of intense, once the dew point dropped a little bit, or the temperature dropped to the dew point rather. And, so I was like, okay, well, this is, that's kind of cool. It's a good day to be lazy. And that rolled over into Sunday. So it's like almost 2 good days to be lazy. But yeah, I didn't do a whole lot. I mean, a lot of times I just kind of mess around in the computer and stuff. And, I was trying to find a new way, because I like to be mobile, right? So this whole sort of like laptop thing that I got going on, over there with my sexy legs that I know you guys love. So I got the laptop, I got the stand, but I wouldn't travel with the mic boom, right? I wouldn't travel with this and that sort of thing. But I'm really trying to get everything into one backpack, just so when I do go to Krabi, for example, on Tuesday, I can almost have much of this and have a very similar, at least, experience going on. Because, if I have good enough internet, I've got the horsepower now in the box to be able to, stream live video behind me or something like that. But I can't bring this microphone, which is because it's bulky, for one. And then I'd have to bring the mixer pretty much. And that's, again, it's about the size of, 3 packs of cards. So that's, it takes up some room for sure. So it's nice. I figure, okay, I'll just use the lav mic. The sound card on this laptop is good enough. And my video from Lumpini sounded pretty decent. I dug that. And I'll have to listen to that later. Caesar sent me a voice message. So the goal, right, is to be able to sort of take this whole mobile broadcast studio and go. So a lot of times I'll tinker with that, and then I'll even weigh the bag, right? So that anyway, so that's something that I end up doing when I'm feeling when I'm feeling under the weather. I do more technology, right? Kind of crazy, right? Aztec to Stuck. Ugh, that sucks. Yeah, it does. That's a real bummer. I hope everyone in your family's okay. Stuck. Probably because they want more things, not experiences. Completely agree, Cody. Less stuff, more experience. I'm all about that. I also know a handful of really, financially wealthy people that went through the, they weren't the greatest leader. They were sometimes referred to as like a tyrant or kind of something like that. A lot of times People will refer to Steve Jobs or Bill Gates as that. And, early on in their career, they didn't have leadership skills. They didn't have managerial skills. And so, they basically just used positional power as their leadership point of view. And they were like, look, I'm in charge. And so you'll do this, And of course, there's been a movie made, I think, about Steve Jobs, maybe a couple for all I know, about how he would like scream it, or how in this scene, he'd scream at his employees kind of thing. And, but of course, incredibly wealthy, right? And later on in life, then they kind of transitioned into, okay, this has like not been worth it. I've been a complete jerk. I don't like who I am, or I'm just unhappy. I'm not physically taking care of myself. But I have all this money, but I'm totally unhappy, So anyway, I know a few guys that have gone through that, but gratefully, yeah, I would probably label that as again, successful people are traditionally pretty happy. The ones that I certainly interface with, the successful people I interface with, they're also pretty grateful. And I don't know whether that's just because I end up hanging out with people that are grateful because I'm grateful. And so therefore, if I'm grateful and someone's not, then we basically won't hang out because they're like, dude, I'm not there. Like, I'm not you. I'm not them. Like, I don't have their experience. I don't have their, whatever. So we just don't mesh, right? But it seems like the ones that I end up hanging out with are usually pretty grateful too. But yeah, happiness is, it's an inside job, as they say. And Teach Thomas says, hello to everybody. Prime Burger was good. I think it's just the prolonged rainy season. Oh, so Prime Burger, did you go to that recently? Down there in Rayong? Lakers won just a few minutes ago. What mixer do I use? Cody, I use a, hold on. A Behringer is the short answer. And it's a single channel. Basically, all I do is use it to, essentially, it is a to D converter, meaning that it takes the microphone. Hold on. Oh, this... It basically just takes the microphone and, isn't that weird how that does that? Here, hold on, sorry. There we go. Yeah. So it's basically... the microphone is here on the left side of the screen with the XLR in, and then it simply converts it to USB. So essentially, it's an A to D converter. But the reason I like Behringer is because of the incredibly low noise floor on their preamps. So that's helpful because then I don't get a whole lot of artifacts later on in the audio chain when, of course, it becomes digitized. So that was pretty good. You can get them online in the United States for about $50, like Amazon Prime, free shipping. And here in Thailand, I think it was just over 3,000 baht. Because, of course, there's duty and then, all that. But, it's all good. Fancy background tonight. Yeah, it's just the webcam from Samui. And then actually this is a different version. Just the still. And again, this is from this view. I did a live stream from this view, a while ago when I was down there. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to look at. I dig it big time. But I really like this one because it pans and zooms all day. So that's kind of cool. 8 raw oysters in Bangkok and was sick for a week. I never did that again. Yeah, I've heard of people doing that, oh, hey, so this is also Gracie's. Mary, I don't know how to pronounce the last name incorrectly, sadly. Munshe? It's German. It's her husband's name. Alex. And anyway, well, so here's what, if you don't know, so Gracie and her younger sister, their first name is the same. So it's Mary Grace and Mary Jane, right? So anyway, good to see you, Jane. Or no, I'm sorry. MJ. I'm sorry. God, that's so weird. Hi, Jane. No, everyone knows her as MJ. Glad you came by. Glad you're here. The gang's all here, man. Mike, your mic. You ever been on the mic, baby? Your mic has such rich sound, like In a Word Gone Mad. In a World Gone Mad. Rated R. Hello, Dana. Hello, Dana. Are you in your freezing cold freaking box? Yeah, it's So here's the thing, Hike, on the mic, is that this microphone, as you guys may or may not know, I've said it before, it costs about $12. And so the key is capacitors. So I swapped a couple of those out, but it's also going through a mixer. And then when I'm on OBS, one of the other reasons I really like OBS is the compressor and the limiter that it comes with are awesome. So I can, be over here or whatever, and usually the compressor will pull me in, and it's pretty much the same level of audio if I'm in within about a foot of it, that sort of thing. If I overmodulate, you're going to get a little bit of that. But for the most part, the limiter, it really keeps me out of hot water, and it keeps me down to about minus 6 dB, which is really, even that is like a little hot. But it's thank you for that. I've liked this microphone since I got it. It's definitely worth it, because if it breaks, all I got to do is throw it away and order another one on Lazada for, I honestly think this and like the cage. It's got one of those like the circular windscreen things that some people use. I prefer these ones. And I think it was all like 350 baht. It's just free, basically, right? It also came with another boom that's like those, those Luxo lamps, right? It came with that too, so. And do not forget, if you don't touch it, it doesn't count. If you don't walk down that beach in Koh Samui and touch the other end, dude, it absolutely doesn't count. Stuck says, only my niece is having problems so far. Nothing severe, but running a fever and not having energy. Strangely enough, she's the youngest and the healthiest one that has it so far. Well, that would indicate that she's going to get better sooner and quicker. So best of luck on that, Stuck. I hope she comes out of it, because, feeling like crap is lame, right? Prime Burger Prom Pong. Okay, fair enough. Strangelings, assemble. Boo, 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 boo. Teach Thomas, many different measures of success, but I would say that, true success is contentment with oneself. I completely agree, dude. Being comfortable in my own skin, that is the brass ring, baby. I did say duty. Prime Burger and Pattaya, very good Australian beef. Oh, where's that one, Thomas? Is it in Central? Is that the one up there that like has the balcony that overlooks? I can't remember. Not in the box. Rock the box. Reaches the beaches and rolls the pools. Mike, what do you put in the mic to sound better? So much. So on my other mic, the way that a microphone works, right, is basically, it's a little bit more sophisticated than this, but at the end of the day, it's the inverse of a speaker. Okay. So a speaker works because you have a coil that is basically, its energy is modulated, which is the sound you put into it. And because of that, the coil, then you have this magnet inside of it. And therefore it then moves that back and forth, ideally at the exact same rate, and reproduces the frequencies of, the combined frequencies of oscillation that you put into it. Okay. So if you put in a 1000 hertz tone, right, then obviously that's very simple. It would go in and it would modulate the coil back and forth 1000 times per second, provided you had obviously enough, voltage on there. Right. But again, it's modulated. So what do you do on the other way? It's kind of like, what's the difference between a generator and an electric motor, right? So you've got this sound pressure that comes in. And because of that, you need to have an open space, right? Because you're pulling in sound from everywhere. And you can obviously angle it and that sort of thing, electrically as well as physically, to have the sound come in. Obviously you've seen a horn, right? Like you yell into a horn and it projects well, if you do the inverse of that, then it helps, right? But most microphones aren't that. So they have, pretty sophisticated voice calls. And then there's some degree of electronics inside of it, of course, that takes that very low level of energy that you're generating from your voice and then either amplifies it, changes it, it colors it. This absolutely colors my voice a little bit. And then I color it a little bit further along. But there's space in there. And so therefore, obviously, if I'm in a very Like if this whole room had no furniture in it and it's just walls, right? There would be a lot of echo because the sound that is coming, which is 1 inch from the voice coil, there would also be some that bounces off that wall and comes back on the other side of the voice coil, and it would pull that in and it would make it sound like there's an echo. So that occurs inside of the device as well. And so one of the real easy ways to make a really, really cheap microphone sound better, not awesome, but better, is to fill the empty space inside of it with a dampening material. And so what happened to me was I had a pillow that I bought at like Big C or something, and it was on my bed, and I opened it, and it on the seam it ripped, so it was very easy to fix. But the point is that I had this open pillow, so therefore I had pillow stuffing available at the ready. And so I filled the empty holes inside of the microphone. I mean, again, and this is like the poor man's way of, the short answer is, spend a lot of money. That's the easiest way to get really, really good microphones. And then, of course, the audio chain needs to be decent too. But the point is that there's some things you can do. There's other things you just simply can't do. A lot of time, like inside of this microphone, the PC board is very tiny. The components are all very tiny. And obviously they also need to be very low energy because, it's not powered, right? It can be 48 volts, right? But this microphone is actually, it comes with a little 3.5 millimeter tip ring sleeve. And so I just replaced the XLR out to XLR in, just simply because I wanted some more shielding on the cable, and the XLR cable was the one that had more shielding. So anyway, there are many ways to mess with sound. I always try and divert to how am I going to improve the quality of this sound with the least, because you can throw a ton of money at stuff. I mean, our microphones, the mic processors I would use when I was in radio, they were amazing. They were about $1,500 each. We had one on each microphone, and then they were all chained together so that, because you want like the host to be a little louder, but therefore, if there's so there would be other input that would determine like the compression and that sort of thing on the other microphones. So, I've definitely thrown money at the problem for sure. But the other thing too is that, there's a lot to be said because you're throwing an analog origination and you're digitizing it somewhere along the line, right? And there is a lot to be said for vacuum tubes. There is the sound that you get out of that. They're totally inefficient electrically. I get it. They heat the air like crazy, but the sound is just amazing. So we used to buy these full on like $1,500, well, some of them were $2,500 mic processors. And they would have all this technology in there, and they would like do echo canceling, and they would do autos. Then they would fit the room. They had this thing called the feedback destroyer that was in it, so you could literally walk up to the microphone, put it right next to your headphones, or put it right next to the speaker, and you would never hear any feedback. So, but inside these ones, they were great, and they had this little socket, and it was sideways, and there was a vacuum tube inside of it, man. And oh my God, that made it sound good. Not to mention the fact that the microphones we bought also cost $1,500. So, but it's a little bit different. So I love when I can do stuff for like literally no money. This audio chain, the most expensive thing is the laptop, but I use it for many things. But as far as the audio chain goes, the Behringer mixer is, for $100, it's just like a dynamite box. So, nice vegetarian burger option as well. Dollars to donuts. That mic is super value. Copy that. I also love your face is barely on camera. The screen is dominated by the ocean view. Agreed. When I indulge in prime burger, I go for the vegan triple, but my wife loves the beef smash burger with bacon. I haven't been to. I'll have to go back. I'll have to go back with Caesar, and because he's a burger guy. So we go for burgers. We go for beef burgers. Living in Alaska, but the property is in Colorado. Success equals world domination. Absolutely. I completely agree. Oh, Tree Town. Got it. That's right. I totally know where. So it's on Bucau, right? I'm completely spaced on that. Hey, Brian, what are you doing tonight, dude? Want to come out and play? Cool, about to start getting cold there. Bet it's going to get freezing. Yeah, my EE lectures, right. Used to love cold weather, but after years of living in Thailand, I am ruined for cold weather. Got it, buddy. I'm right there with you. You can't tolerate it. No, you can absolutely tolerate it, dude. Otherwise, the air conditioner in the damn studio wouldn't be set at the rate it is. It's way too cold in there. In fact, I think that's probably one of the reasons that I got sick when I left on Saturday. But it was nice to just kind of chill out. I did like a whole lot of nothing, which was great. Thanks for that, Mike. It's a need to know. I suspect we'll be on the same trajectory. Indeed. Cody says, Mike, I'm loving the audio explanation. Thank you, my friend. Well, yeah, sure. Legit reason that Ozziophile spent big bucks on vacuum tubes. Yeah, I was a big fan. Before I came here, I had a really nice Macintosh amp. And I never had clipped speakers. They're very big. They weren't real efficient when they made those things, but they had some decent sound to it. The downside is that the cones didn't last very long, the actual paper. But definitely one of the better amplifiers that I ever had was one that I made. It was a Heath kit, if you guys remember those. Now, traditionally, those would not sound great. They would be very good, but what I did is I completely changed the final amplifier stage, and I got these amps. I can't remember where I got them. I'm trying to remember now, but I mean, and then they were so massive. I mean, they had to have heat sinks on them, but they were really nice. But yeah, that Macintosh, that was a sweet sounding. That was a really, really nice one. Did someone ask a radio guy about mics? Oh my Buddha. Cody, he says you're really using your knowledge to get the most out of your money. Yeah, I mean to the sort of, right? I mean, again, it's you gotta have. There is some money that you need to spend for sure. But okay, just want to make sure I wouldn't. It's fun for me, right? And so that's sort of that's the engineer's challenge, to make it sound pretty good. A little bit of my microphones, yeah. Did someone ask a radio? Yeah, I know, that's funny, right? I know a certain radio guy that did a whole live stream with one plugged in. Stuck? Years in the business too. I don't know who you're talking about, Aztec. That guy must be crazy. Anyone who does live streams with a mic plugged in, it's crazy. If I could make that aircon slightly warmer, I would. It's just too finicky. Well, you can, you just won't. I do, yes. I'll tell you what, I do like that scarf. I believe it's Dana's scarf, though. That really was kind of. That made me feel good, but I was like, I don't know. I like the thing that Jib knitted. Although what I really love is I love the ability to wear my. Oh, you know what? I should have put my shirt on and not necessarily not definitely my Bangkok Strange shirt. I'm beta testing some software. It's called Shuffle. SHUFFLL is the name of the company, and it's going to be a streaming service. And it's in browser, which is pretty good. And it's got, the ability to really interface with people at a much deeper level than you can just do with like the standard StreamYard or whatever. I can't see it around here, but anyway, so as you might guess, right, the name of the company is Shuffle, so therefore their tagline is "Every day I'm shuffling," and I'm like, okay, well that'll be great until you get popular, and then of course they sue you for using the. Anyway, I had that they sent me a shirt that says "Every day I'm shuffling," so I meant to wear that, but it's black and it would look weird with the X split that I got going on here in the background. Tubes look beautiful as well. Great looking oh my god, don't they though? Dude, big time. It is. I love the glow. I would love that. Sometimes in my office back home, in my home office, I would just like shut the lights out in my office and just like, the orange from the Mac. That's a real Mac. That was my first real Mac. It was a Macintosh. It's pretty awesome. You modded your own mic. It's real. I'll tell you, certainly it depends on the size of them, right? I mean, the capacitors inside of this thing, of course, are very tiny because it's not really meant to be powered. And the other mic that I have, which is, that one's like $6 or $7. That's another one that I got a little bit deeper, warmer sound because of the pillow fuzz. But you got to be careful, right? Because you don't want to get near the voice coil, obviously. And party rock, absolutely. Every day I'm shuffling. So that's kind of a neat T-shirt, actually. Did I consider buying a high-end one over here? Well, okay. So high-end for me is the first thing I think of is Neumann, and really, if you're going to buy a Neumann, then you need to commit to having a ridiculously good sound. I was going to say sophisticated, but it doesn't have to be sophisticated. A great audio chain along the way, because the infamous, the weakest link is that, right? And I don't have a studio, and so there is echo that's going to occur here. So I didn't consider it because I was like, I don't have. I can get a $2,000 microphone and then hook it up to a $100 mixer, and then it sounds like a $100 mixer. It's a lot easier to make a $12 microphone sound like a $500 microphone than it is to go the other way, for me. And it's the other thing too is that stuff over here is ridiculously expensive. Electronics like that, meaning compared to what I'm used to ordering it on Amazon.com with Prime free shipping, right? And so like SM58s, that's what Dana has in his studio, which I think sound dynamite. I've loved the SM58. Literally, I think I got my first one in 1990 when I was DJing, in fact. And in fact, that us cool DJs, we would actually have our own SM58 and we would carry that around. I'm talking about like going to, DJing weddings. When you go to a nightclub, it really doesn't matter what you're, but and that was when I first learned that this little divot right here, you see this little spot right here between your bottom lip and your chin, there's like that little thing. That is where the microphone goes. That's why God gave us this thing. That's where the SM58 goes. That is where the microphone is supposed to be when you're speaking into it. So anyone who's, it just kills me when like people, they get in the, oh yeah, Mike, that sounds great. They're way back. Again, I got a little bit of compressor, so it pulled in some of it. But the point is that I just like, oh no, dude, right there. That's where the head of the SM58 goes. So that was a good learning. How old was I? Like 20, 21 maybe when I learned that. So the microphones we had at College Radio in Boston were decent. They were pretty decent. I think they were SM7. Shure, by the way, is what the manufacturer that I'm speaking of. The SM7. It doesn't. They're quiet. So you need the decent amplifier for it with those, but. Hey Hugh, what's going on? Hello, Cool Kids Table. Happy to see Mike powering through whatever he caught at the Dana Bluen studio at the Bangkok Strange. Yeah, absolutely, dude. That's pretty awesome. I know. I can't stop. What is wrong with me, Dana? I left because I thought stream ending. I was wrong. Absolutely, never. No, come on, man. It was just. It's not even been 3 hours yet. That's. Although I actually thought I was going to only be able to last like 2.5. I'm getting a little tired, and I think tea is in my future. I think that's going to be a wise move, but I also need to. There's physical sanity, and then there's emotional and spiritual sanity, and so I need to go get some emotional, spiritual sanity over at that other club I belong to. That is also actually arguably could be labeled as a Cool Kids Table. Size of the caps don't matter. It's the motion of the ocean. Ah, yes. Absolutely. I should change my first name to Mike. See, Mango? You get me. That would be so much. That would be smarter, don't you think? High-end mics are stupid expensive due to import tax. Yeah, well, sure. I mean, here, right? Temperature doesn't cause colds, although the viruses do thrive better in colder, drier conditions. No, I'm not saying that it's the Delta, right? And then, in other words, that's the thing that I'll walk around outdoors and I'll get like super hot and I love it. And then I'll walk into a mall and it's like, because it's the Delta, right? It's the change in temperature for sort of thing. But germs cause colds. and who knows where, because I mean, you got to remember that, like, I mean, Dana and I are like right up on top of these microphones, and the guest we had, Chris, I mean, for all I know, he had the sniffles, right? I mean, and so it's just, but yeah, it was so weird. I don't know if I told you this, Dana, like when we were downstairs, dude, after doing the broadcast, after the live stream, I was like, okay, dude, I think I'm going to throw up. Like, this is going to be, and then I'm like, okay, that's that's cool. That goes away. But, yeah, I was glad I got home and laid down. That's for sure. I took a nap. What are we talking about now? You stuck. I've seen electronic wizards make magic happen with cheap gear, but I'm not a wizard. I have to pour money into things until I get the desired results. Dude, I tell you what, that is the more common. It depends what you're talking about. But yeah, it's very common. I mean, you got to remember, like, I worked in a radio station, so the stuff we bought was ridiculously expensive. Ridiculously expensive. But it's also a longevity thing, though, too. I mean, like, this thing gets used once, maybe twice a week kind of thing. It pretty much stays in the same spot. The ones that they get moved around all the time. They get like 12 different versions of germs getting sprayed on it. A lot of guys, what they would do, I would love this on my RE20s. Oh, and you're talking about, that's like an $800-900 microphone. So they would come in with like a thing of Lysol. They'd take the thing off and and then put it back. I'm like, dude, you're not helping. Because if you've ever seen the voice coil of them, I mean, it's very thin. Usually they're clear, right? And so, that would always, that and Coke. People that would bring Coke, or no, Big Gulps. Big Gulps were the engineer's nemesis. You spill that on a console, and it is bad news bears. Vin says Googled colds. Very good. I will do that. Plus, for streaming at the end of the day, you get bottlenecked into a USB connector. Yeah, absolutely. And really, the only way you're going to get... I mean, that's why I use the compressor inside of OBS. And then the gear that people are listening to me on, that's the other thing too, right? Is that, I mean, a lot of times for podcasts, certainly, the majority of the people are listening on a mobile device, and so it's earbuds, right? And so, there's only probably about 10 or 15 really good manufacturers of earbuds out there. Mac, obviously, being one, Apple, rather, the ones that they paid it. Everyone pays to have them manufactured, right? But they're pretty good. Still on mics that's stuck in Florida. You're good for another 45 minutes. I could talk about audio for a while. Yeah, Mike's mic. Yeah, the SM58, I'll tell you, dude, that is I mean, come on. The ROI, I mean, there is no other microphone, I think, that costs that little that provides that level of service. And it's not just the audio quality, right? I mean, it's the durability. I mean, dude, I would do shows. I would have 3 or 4 SM58s in my pocket. I used to always actually. So here's what we used to be funny. I used to wear one roll of duct tape, like gray duct tape, and then gaffer's tape, right, which is basically black duct tape. Kind of. I mean, it's similar, right? But the graph on my wrist, I would have those, and I would have like 2 or 3 SM58s in my pocket, back pocket kind of thing, and then I would have, and usually these headphones, actually, the Sonys. I've used these. These are the 7506s, the MDR 7506s, and I'm trying to remember. I've used these headphones for, not this specific pair, but probably 30 years. I'm going to say this model. because I was at USD for 15. I was down in Mexico for 5. Before that, I was at KFMB for 6. So yeah, I mean, I've been using these for a long time. These are dynamite headphones. And over here, here's what was crazy, Dana. These Sonys here, dude, on Lazada, they were $30. They're like $100 at least in the US. Usually like 99 to 129. I was amazed, and I was like, maybe they're fake. No, these are absolute. These sound great. I love these headphones, dude. Dana, you're an enabler. You enable me. You went on any adventure lately? Visited some ancient temples? No, and I talked a little bit about that at the beginning of the stream, because I was like, okay, what is my deal, right? And I like to think of myself as pretty self-aware and self-absorbed too. But I was sort of reviewing like my behaviors lately. Like, in other words, why I do this, why I don't do this. Why did I make reservations to go to Krabi and not go to Krabi? Why did I make reservations to go to Koh Phangan and then say, oh yeah, I'm going to go to all these different beaches, but I only went to 3 beaches because I enjoyed it. Okay, that's not dysfunctional. That's kind of cool. And I went to meetings while I was over there. I talked to a guy who had like 2 or 3 years, and we got him out of a kind of an emotional disappointment. And so I'm like, okay, so I'm adding value, and I'm like taking value too. I'm absorbing what's around me and being very appreciative of it. But it's like, why am I doing, and a lot of it was related to the fact that I was just, I was missing Gracie, right? But then I didn't really note it at the time. And so it was a really interesting exercise. But the point to this is that because of the realization of that manifested itself in me realizing that I had basically blown off a vacation to a beach. Ancient temples, I love. I think they're awesome. They're really cool. There is a temple down the street. Well, there's a temple down the street from my house. Yeah, when is that statement not accurate in Thailand? But I haven't been to one in a while, and I miss it. I do want to go. I want to do the ceremony. I like doing whatever ceremony that I've been taught, whether it's accurate or timely or whether I'm doing it appropriately or whatever. The way that I learned to do it and the way that I do it is very pleasurable for me. And I've noticed that I don't offend others when I do it. So I figure I'm doing it correctly, which is the whole, the incense, melt the candle, light it, do the, kind of thing. And, it just makes me feel good, So I'm looking forward to doing that, but I haven't decided where I'm going to do that. I am going to Krabi on Tuesday, provided I get my passport back this week. I forgot Monday and Tuesday were a holiday, but the guy that I talked to said it would probably be this week, so I'll assume that it'll be this week. If not, and I don't have my passport by next Monday, well, then I am not traveling. I guess I'm not. I do have a Canadian passport. However, it doesn't have any indication that I can legally stay in Thailand. Like, there's no visa in it. So I don't know if that's a requirement for the airlines. I don't know if that's something that they check, or if they're just like, no, we just need a federally issued ID, and since you're in the country right now, like whether your visa is valid or not. I don't know if your visa was invalid, could I fly from Bangkok to Chumphon? I don't know. I mean, maybe that's not a requirement for me to have. You lost your wrench, Joe? Stand by. There you go. Sorry, man. I don't know how it went away. But green tea and no sugar. Thank you very much, Joe. That's a good reminder. I need to get some green tea. I don't understand analog audio until this old curmudgeon Harv Reeves, who owned a radio station in Colorado, explained it. Well, okay, yeah. Do you mean like FM? I've talked about that before here, haven't I? I could talk. I know. Here's the interesting thing about being an expert at something is there's that one business guy who's quoted for saying, if you've done something for 10 years, then you're an expert at it. And I would agree. I think the things that I've done for at least 10 years, I would argue I'm an expert at. And there's probably about 3 of those things, data center infrastructure, that sort of thing, how to basically power an entire, an entire anything really with, back-end infrastructure for IT, radio. I mean, I know literally everything there is to know about AM and FM radio. I don't know shortwave stuff. I'm not a ham, but of course I know how the technology results in your voice being elsewhere. Mr. Marconi, I blame you for all of my happiness. I don't know. I really like talking about that sort of thing. I really am saddened. I was so saddened, I still am, that commercial FM radio has just gone so lousy. That they talk about not being able to pivot an entire, it's 10. Okay. Let me get to some comments before I go off the rails, as I occasionally will do. Stock says, I don't remember you having it. Oh, really? I don't remember. Oh, wait. Oh, okay. Got it. You're always on Bangkok Strange, Joe. You know that. Infinite theoretical bandwidth. Absolutely, Tony. Absolutely. I have infinite theoretical bandwidth. That's kind of like, in radio, we would tweak our signal. Obviously, there's a finite amount of loudness that you can broadcast, right? But we would refer to it as perceived loudness. I love that. I want to find cans with oversized cups to fully enclose my ears. The other ones you got are pretty big, but the AKGs, the AKGs do that, right? Joe, you should be on Bangkok Strange, brah. I've been a big fan of Sennheiser headphones, but mine are only 150. That's not bad. Sennheiser makes a decent headphone. I didn't like them because they don't go over my ears as these ones do, as Dana was talking about. The other reason that I used to have Sennheiser headphones that I use, but the reason that I use these types of headphones is I have the sound of my voice in my ears quite loud. And many DJs will do this. In fact, you'll hear them, they'll get like really close to the microphone, and then all of a sudden it like feeds back, And so I always made sure that I never had, because a lot of times they'll have headphones and they'll have like air holes in the side to potentially get a better sound. But that kind of allows for feedback, and I do not do feedback. I will not permit that to occur. It is so easy to not do. So I don't do that. Just love all the BS and live my ass off. Good job, Joe. Continue to live your ass off, Joe. I highly recommend it. Way to get modded there, Joe. Facepalm. Could you pay a day rate and go sit in a sauna there? It sounds silly in the tropics, but it might help clear your sinuses and sweat out the crowd. Dude, I got to tell you, I love steam rooms. Huge fan. Again, I love hot and humid, right? Like, I don't like the dry saunas. I like hot, humid. I like saunas, and I like them by myself. Steam sauna. And the short answer is absolutely. I probably could find that. And places like that I knew. There's one. It's a chain. It's got like a yellow. The logo, I think it's like yellow with like blue letters, Mayaraya or Nayaraya. I think it's like Naya, Narraya, something like that. I've seen those. There's a chain of those. I believe that they have things like that. I'll have to go check it out, though. That's a great idea. Dana, you need to drag Mike to the Rocket Wheel Festival. Don't even know what that is, buddy. Don't even know. Does Dana know what that is? We definitely make that happen at some point. I think someone died there last year. Don't even know what the Rocket Wheel Festival is. Only been there 3 hours in my life, and I had 3 beers. I only remember the Thai sausage. See? There you go. And cockatoo, baby. Thai sausage and cockatoo. Seriously, though, I don't drink. I had to stand so I could hang on my stool so I didn't fall over. Attaboy. What's the topic tonight? Hike focus. There never is. No. It was, did I ever have any, whoops. I hate when I do that. What I did, if you care, is, I clicked on the link inside of the popped out chat. So it then used that window too. I know. Rookie move. Let me get rid of this and go back. Anyway, so great. That's cool. You sent me a video, or you sent a video of this festival. Watch it later. Cool. I will. Thanks, man. Basically what I was talking about is like what's changed if I miss anything from back home, if I miss anything from California. There was a mild discussion around regrets, not necessarily literally regrets, but like things that I would probably do differently. And then, but for the most part, just sort of the acknowledgement of like why I hadn't done one of these in a while. And you know, the neat thing about being human, I'm painfully human, right? And, because of that, you know, I have feelings that I'm not necessarily aware of at the time. But then when I review my behaviors, right? Because of course, you know, I would prefer that the world judges me on my intentions, but the reality is they will judge me on my behaviors, on my actions. And so therefore, I need to, you know, review my behaviors as well. So anyway. Bum 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 bum. So, okay, so we're at 3 hours, and that was my goal. I'm going to head off and hang out with some buddies. I'm going to go get some green tea, so thank you very much for that. I'm going to take the money that you guys super chatted me, and I'm going to go get a smoothie, and also get a protein shake probably, and try and feel better. Rest, have liquids. So I hope you guys are doing great, and I hope you continue to do great. And with that, it's Mike's from livemyassoff.com saying, I hope you're living the dream. If you are not living the dream, there's a high likelihood that this beach behind me right here, you have never been to it, and I highly recommend you go to it. It's Crystal Bay. It is in Koh Samui. And until